Friday to everyone out there in football land. And we're in football land, Mike Storey, the number one co-host on the show. He's looking super fresh today. I'm rocking a stash. It's a shitty stash. Storey, if I just went one day and just had a Hitler stash, do you think this would make this show take off?
Well, we talked about how controversy tends to drive views, so I say go for it. Whatever can get those views up, right? Get the algorithm working for us, not against us.
Yeah, and I actually play Xbox with a dude from Germany, and I always rip on him for poo porn because Germany is known for, if you ever want to watch some like really, really degrading porn and some weird shit, German stuff is always the wackiest. And
you ever
so
see
poo porn, and he laughs it off.
You ever see the movie 8mm with Nicolas Cage?
Of course, yeah, old Nick Cage, man, love Nick Cage.
You get into some weird stuff in that movie.
I'm all for it. So, you know what? Just teasing a little future episode. Maybe it'll be a private episode. I don't know if I want to go public with this, but my rock a Hitler stash doesn't age well in 2026. Didn't age well in 2006. So,
for the patrons only.
Wild stuff. Yeah. Anyways, wide receiver landing spots, dude. We have a lot to get into here, and we did running back landing spots and tight end landing spots, but this is the juicy stuff. This is where the money's made, because in recent history, last 5-6 years, I think Odell Beckham was kind of the first one that really shook up, the fact that a rookie wide receiver could come in and be elite, right, and dominate from day one.
Well, he didn't dominate from day one. If you remember, the audience remembers, the first 6 to 8 weeks of the season were unimpressive.
Well, he was hurt though.
Yeah, well, yeah, but day one, like he wasn't a rookie that came. Now, what we did see Ibuka come in day one and light up the scoreboard last year, and that second half of the year it certainly faded off. But Odell Beckham was like the hottest waiver wire pickup of the last 2 decades. I would argue.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think that Odell was coming into the year hurt, and then he took 2 weeks. Justin Jefferson took about 3 weeks. I think week 4 he really popped off. Funny enough, I told a buddy of mine to drop Justin Jefferson that year. It didn't work out well. St. Brown was a late start, but I'm saying the other guys that have come in and just, kind of lived up to the bill from day one. As in, when I say day one, I'm saying just rookie year. Whatever week it is.
Other than like total outliers like Calvin Johnson and Julio Jones, right? Like guys that were no doubt first round talents, first like rookie talents.
God, dude, what could have been with Calvin Johnson, man? Like how old? Calvin Johnson's probably only like 40 right now, right? Like he could be still dominating in the NFL, or at least be in the NFL as in like 2023. And he retired way early. He was 31 when he retired.
He only played 9 seasons.
Still at the peak of his powers.
He only played 9 seasons in the NFL, which is
Hall of Famer, though, right?
Well, I mean, look, you go through his awards and highlights. It's absolutely outstanding. Man, it's a bummer that we didn't get more years of Calvin Johnson. He was just coming into, like, I think his prime, but he had enough. He did his ding, and he did his thing, and he was like, I'm done. I'm out. And no flirting with coming back. No 2 years later or a year later. No hanging on. Like, I think it was really crazy that he was 11,619 receiving yards, ranked 4th in the players' first 9 seasons, trailing only Julio Jones, Terry Holt, and Jerry Rice. That in and of itself is crazy.
Think about it. Barry Sanders did kind of the same thing, and whether Barry Sanders did this because of the Walter Payton thing, we'll never know. It was probably more so that Lions thing, right? Of just like, why am I playing for this shit franchise? We have no hope, no future. I'm just not going to beat my body up. I made my money. And that was the Calvin Johnson thing for sure. And it probably was the Barry Sanders thing. And for my money, best running back of all time. Storey, it's him and Walter Payton for you. It's not Emmett Johnson, right?
No, it's not Emmett Johnson.
Emmett Smith, sorry. I call Emmett Johnson. Emmett Johnson is Emmett Smith, baby. I love Emmett Johnson. Yeah.
I think it's Walter Payton first and foremost. I think that he's a tier in and of himself. But I'm probably biased as a Bears fan.
Oh, that you know what? That Emmett Johnson comment just is on par with my mustache. Very white trash.
Just accept the fact that you're white trash, all right? Take a look at yourself. You can't do backflips. You don't know karate. You're white trash.
You're white trash too, dude. Look at those shorts are white trash.
Do not call the shorts white trash. Dennis told me about these shorts, and they're not white trash. Look at this. Look at this. Look what I can do. What is white trash about that? Don't call me white trash.
I feel like if I had that kind of mobility, I'd be capable of pretty much anything.
Funny. That's
Mouth,
funny.
CJ Daniels equals the new Puka minus eating people, because we all know that Puka is a cannibal. They don't comp at all the same player, but let's jump ahead a little bit to CJ Daniels, because I didn't have him on my list because he's so low in terms of where he got drafted. We would touch on him later, but is there any reason to draft CJ Daniels this year besides being essentially a handcuff for Davante Adams? Because that is the reason, right? It's not going to be a Puka just because Puka is going to play that role. He's an outside X receiver.
I'm not even convinced that he is the backup to Davante Adams there. Like 6'2", 202 doesn't really move the needle for me. This guy was a journeyman in college. He only played 1 year at Miami, and yeah, had some good counting numbers, but he's got he's a super raw. Just like, I know he's been around for a while, but he's a super raw guy. I think the Rams had a terrible draft personally, and I'm not sure what this pick is really supposed to accomplish. Like, are they just building for 2 years down the road?
This is a fine pick, honestly. Like, compared to the other picks, this is one of their better ones, which says a lot. And I like him. He's raw, like you said.
Pick, so it doesn't really matter.
Mumfield is probably the 3 there to start the year, and then CJ Daniels will definitely overtake him, because Mumfield they do like. He's just kind of just a guy, and then it's just the amazing amount of 12 personnel and 13 personnel they're going to play this year. When does the third receiver really come into play outside of games they're trailing, and how many games do we really anticipate the Rams to be trailing this year? 5? 6?
Not a whole lot. And we didn't even get a third wide receiver that was fantasy viable before the Rams started playing all this 12 and 13 personnel over the last year. So what makes me think that CJ Daniels, like, I wouldn't even, he's a taxi squad guy. He's not even like a late round rookie draft guy. He's maybe a taxi squad. See if nobody scoops him up.
Well, here's the issue with Whittington. So Mouse says Whittington is Puka's backup, CJ is Adams' backup, and that's the more valuable role because Adams is known for having these soft tissue stuff. But I remember the game. It was the London game when Stafford threw 4 or 5 touchdowns against the Jaguars. Remember this? I started Whittington everywhere because Puka was out, and that's a game that Parkinson caught a touchdown, Ferguson caught a touchdown, Mumfield caught a touchdown. Like, and Whittington had like 3 for 34. You know, he played the most snaps, but like there's no 1-to-1 replacement for Puka. And, you know, Davante Adams, I just think that if any of these 2 receivers go down, the main 2, they're going to go heavy 13, heavy 12, and spread the ball around because Matt Stafford's at that point of his career.
Yeah, they'll like any of those tight ends, none of them are like a great pass catcher, but they all can catch the ball. And Daniels, like, I guess if you're going to compliment anybody in that team, I guess Adams makes sense. Right? Neither one of these guys, Adams is no longer a dynamic guy. Daniels has never been a dynamic guy. So let him, I guess he's not even a big frame guy. Like he's skinny and
don't say that to Mouth. Okay. You don't say he's not a big play and a stud, because he's going to kill you. See, Daniel's hands are great. He's a stud. Carson Beck was the problem for sure. Andy Reid says Emmett Johnson is equal to LaShawn McCoy. I don't know if he said equal, but he definitely put the LaShawn McCoy comp out there. Story, thoughts on that? Because I've been talking up this guy for how long? And, you know, draft capital isn't – he was, running back 5 off the board, running back 6 off the board. So he went pretty high. It just happened to be a 5th or 6th round pick.
All right, well, let me ask you this question, and this can go to everyone in the audience. Have you heard anything negative about anybody that has been drafted or even undrafted free agents ever signed since the draft took place? One negative piece of news, period. Anything. Even like the guy showed up late to a meeting. I'd love to hear anything because this means literally nothing. This is the most coach speak time of coach speak times. I'm not listening to anything a coach says at this point when it comes to anybody. Let's see what happens when the guys get the pads on, they're on the field. They didn't sign Kenneth Walker, and they didn't talk about increasing his receiving role to then put Emmett Johnson in the LaShawn McCoy role. You can't read into this stuff at all.
Good call, because we didn't hear anything bad about Jermaine Burton coming out of college, right? And like
no,
that, and same with Keon Coleman, right? We didn't hear anything bad about those 2 guys, which I'm not going to put Keon Coleman in the same conversation as Jermaine Burton, even though I just did. But like knucklehead tendencies, missing meetings, not being prepared, not being a pro. We hear that more towards the start of the season, right? Like once July and August hit, and that's still pretty light in terms of news there.
I mean, it benefits nobody to say Emmett Johnson is going to be a backup right now. Like the only person that it might help is Kenneth Walker's ego, but that dude doesn't need an ego check. He's totally fine. So it benefits nobody to come out and actually say, like, be truthful and say what is actually going on and what the actual purpose is. That's just it. Emmett Johnson is a backup, and he's in a backup with a relatively crowded running back room.
I do prefer to hear that because there's some point where that's a pretty bold statement to mention LaShawn McCoy, who I'm not going to say all-time running back, but LaShawn McCoy was a very, 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 very good running back for a lot of years. Dynamic, sturdy, reliable, versatile. So, and that's what I said about Emmett Johnson. So the fact that they're saying anything, I'm going to say it's a plus for him. I'm not going to get over my skis on it though, because it's still just coach speak, like you said.
Yeah. So let's see what happens. We're really close to OTAs.
We have a couple news notes story to talk about. I want to get your pulse on these two things here. So Michael came out. I'm just kidding. Michael did come out. We'll skip that one, but we'll talk about that later in the show as I get drunker. But Juwan Jennings signed with the Vikings. Sorry, 1 year, $13 million contract. So I like this for real life more than fantasy, but it just $13 million is actually more than I thought he'd get. What do you think about the Juwan Jennings signing, and how does it affect? It's good for Kyler Murray. How does it affect the receiving room? Does it make you a little bit cooler on Jordan Addison? Does it make you higher on a guy like Justin Jefferson because you have more help, and maybe TJ Hawkinson? Wink, wink.
Nothing can help TJ Hawkinson. Literally nothing. It'll be interesting to see Jennings on the field because he's probably not coming off the field. Like, he doesn't need to. He's an outstanding blocker. So if he takes 2 wide receiver sets, that leaves Jordan Addison as the odd man out there. I think it really hurts Jordan Addison, but they're probably all going to eat into each other. Jennings is a fairly decent receiver. Like, he did flash for 1 year, and he was relatively consistent last year outside of some injury stuff. He'll probably settle in as a wide receiver for like deep flex option, but he's not draftable as a starting guy in fantasy.
Miles says Addison becomes amazing for fantasy. In 3 wide receiver sets, Addison is going to go to the slot, which we like that. We wish it was Justin Jefferson going into the slot sometimes, but Kevin O'Connell refuses to do that. I'm not convinced that the report is that Jennings is going to be hopping into the Jalen Naylor role, which is the 3rd receiver role. They're not signing this guy this late. He wasn't a priority free agent. He's not going to be signed to take over Jordan Addison's role. Jordan Addison he had 9, 8, and 3. So last year was 3 touchdowns, but 9 and 8 the first 2 years. Like, that's elite stuff. I'm not the biggest Jordan Addison fan, but like, he's serviceable, and he is way more talented than Juwan Jennings at this stage of their careers.
Addison over Jennings?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but again, like, if Jennings doesn't come off the field, like, I don't want a guy that's playing in 3 wide receiver sets when the NFL is moving towards.
Are you convinced on that? Are you convinced that he's not coming off the field? Because I'm not. I'm convinced that he's the 3rd receiver. And why I like Jordan Addison now because of this is that there's going to be a perceived notion, like you're saying, and we can get Jordan Addison now 15 picks later. Like, give me a playmaker instead of going 105, which I kind of like. Now you're looking at pick 120. You're looking at a 10th round pick for Jordan Addison.
Yeah, I still don't. I don't think that Jordan Addison I don't think he's going to return value with Jennings there anymore. I'm fairly certain that Jennings is not going to come off the field. Like, he's $13 million is nothing to sneeze at. I know it's a 1-year deal, but he is an outstanding blocker. So I think they're probably going to try to hide the deficiencies of either JJ McCarthy or probably Kyler Murray. This feels like they're gearing up to run the ball an awful lot in Minnesota, which is bad for everybody.
With the worst running back room in the history of the world, though, like, you're going to run the ball with literally, let's go through this. Jordan Mason. All right. Bad.
Dust.
Aaron Jones, who won't be there after 6 weeks. And then
Dust.
Damon Claiborne, who is 180 pounds. Like,
pass catching.
That's not a good running back room. So
I'm not arguing that, but the moves that they're making, do they scream like we're going to throw the ball an awful lot?
Is this accurate? Jefferson has had 150 plus snaps in the slot back-to-back seasons. If that's accurate, maybe it's accurate. It doesn't seem like it when I'm watching it, right? Would you agree? It doesn't seem like they're playing him in the slot very often.
No, but I mean, it's kind of I don't know. I mean,
that would be roughly 20 to 25%, which is still pretty low. 20 to 25% because he's a guy that's going to play 500 snaps in a year.
Probably 25% based on the number of plays they had last year.
Drew Petzing. I know Drew Petzing made you forget about Kyler is a running quarterback, and Miles Jennings is a third target. He's lining up seconds. So maybe the snaps will be third, or sorry, the snaps will be second, but the targets will be third. That's what I'm anticipating. So I'm excited for the dip in ADP for Hawkinson, for Addison. Those guys will get dipped in ADP, and I'm all for that.
Yeah, but
I don't think it really moves the needle too much.
Well, how much does the dip really need to be? You're bringing in a $13 million guy with any kind of target competition is bad, except for a solo guy on the outside who's got nothing to take coverage away. And does that even matter for Justin Jefferson? Yeah, you're bringing in Juwan Jennings. He's better than Jalen Naylor. So if he plays the Jalen Naylor role, he's going to get more targets than Naylor. He's going to get a higher target share than Naylor did last year. You're telling me that's good for Jordan Addison in any stretch? What might be good is Kyler Murray. We'll see. But you can't tell me that bringing in Juwan Jennings, who you can't compare Jalen Naylor to what Juwan Jennings has done over the last 3 years and say that this helps Addison, because it absolutely does not.
No, I don't think it doesn't move the needle for me on Addison, and it just helps the ADP, right? Where I was on the fence on him, but if I get a 15 to 20 pick dip, right? That's good. That's what I want. We want value, right? Yeah. Juwan Jennings is dust, man. I'm sorry, he's dusty. I got to see the numbers. I got to see the fact of 150, because it does not seem like Justin Jefferson's lining up in the slot 150 times a year. And if that's the case, I could be wrong. But it's just not that they always just have him out there on an island against the number one corner, not creative. That's one of my biggest gripes with Kevin O'Connell. Maybe I'm wrong. It's not a high percentage. It's not no CeeDee Lamb. Jamar Chase, as he's gone off. You see Jamar Chase in the slot a hell of a lot. Well, let's move on to the next point, though. Next news item here. And this is a big one here. This is Breece Hall signing a contract story, which he doesn't want to be there, but the money is there. This is big money. 3-year, $45 million deal, almost $46 million. And the main thing here is it's only a 2-year deal. The third year, there's no guaranteed money. So it's a 2-year deal. We want to call it, what would that be, about $30 million, roughly? 2 years, that's one of the highest paid running backs in the NFL. So is this making you warm up on Breece Hall? Because I think we're both pretty in on Breece Hall at ADP. And he's in that dead zone, right? Not quite the dead zone, but after the top 12. You get him in the 4th, 5th round. That's money.
Third highest paid running back in the league with the $15.25 million annual salary. The guarantees for the third year, you're right. It's essentially a 2-year with a third option. We talked about it all last year. He didn't want to be there. They couldn't come to an agreement. It sounded like Hall wanted out. It sounded like they want to trade him. Even in the offseason, these kind of rumors resurfaced. But instead of moving him, they get a deal done for the next 2 years while they're building around him. He's an RB2 for fantasy. The guy is when he's on and he's not injured, he is an outstanding asset for fantasy football. Hopefully they can make some incremental steps forward and they put in some offensive pieces in Sadiq this year in particular to kind of move that forward. But also Omar Cooper Jr. Maybe that opens things up for the running game a little bit, and we can get back to the Breece Hall that we saw as a rookie.
As much as we're not super psyched about Geno, definitely in terms of long-term prospects, and we didn't like the Sadiq pick, and Omar Cooper, I think we were both pretty lukewarm on. This offense has a lot of juice. I mean, Adonai Mitchell just thrown in there. We love Adonai Mitchell. Garrett Wilson's a stud. This is a viable offense, which is what Breece Hall has not had at all, right? It's been just the Breece Hall show with bad quarterback play, and it might still be bad. It'll be better. It'll be better.
70% of the games because he generally gets injured every year. So it was Breece Hall and it was Garrett Wilson. Now, this offense, on paper, it sounds like they've got juice, but we'll see if the coaching staff can kind of pull everything together. Every year there's a team or two that surprises us in the offensive categories. We've seen it with the Jaguars recently. We saw it with the Saints last year. Can this year be the Jets? It's possible. Geno just had, I don't know if he made the Pro Bowl with Seattle in 24, but he had a really great season with them 2 years ago. Now, last year in Las Vegas, that leaves a lot to be desired. Could it be the Browns? No, I'm telling you right now, it won't be the Browns. The quarterback situation there is abysmal.
That was a pretty subtle Garrett Wilson jab there, Storey.
It's really unfair. It's my team. It's my quarterback. And if you guys do that, man, it's unfair. We lost as a team.
Yeah, I might be holding on to a little bit of resentment from Garrett Wilson last year.
Miles says it's a top 10 offense, and he was on record saying there's a chance. He's pretty confident that Geno Smith's a top 10 quarterback in fantasy this year. He loves Frank Reich. What are your thoughts that that's real, right? And obviously we're not going absolutes here, but your thoughts that this is a potential top 10 Jets offense and at least top 10 Geno Smith, because he's going to check the ball. Is it a 20% chance, 30% chance, 0%, 50%? What do you got?
1 and 4, it's about 25% chance that they're at the top 10 offense. I think the odds are stacked against them. They seem to be kind of accumulating pieces, and they're good pieces, but can they, it's not just about getting the guys on the bus. It's about getting the guys on the bus and getting them in the right seats. So if you're not utilizing Sadiq properly, if you're not utilizing Omar Cooper, Garrett Wilson, if you don't throw the ball to Breece Hall, if you don't spell him, with the big guy there, then you're going to run into issues with injuries and subpar production, et cetera. So Frank Reich, yes, I think he's a good offensive coordinator. He was a terrible head coach, but we saw the offenses that he put on the field. I just don't trust Aaron Glenn, at all. I really don't trust I think a lot of it comes down, it's tough to argue that Aaron Glenn is anything but one of the worst 3 coaches in the NFL right now.
Probably the worst, but I guess we'll see. The jury is still out. All right, Storey, let's move on to wide receiver landing spots here. And it's a deep list. Let's start off with Carnell Tate. We're just going to go 1 through 10, then 10 through 20. Carnell Tate, you loved him. I hated him. But landing spot solid. Draft capital is elite, 4th overall. So what is your pulse on the situation here? They brought in Wan'Dale Robinson. There's a decent amount of weapons around Cam Ward now. There's no real stud at the tight end position. There's not really a stud at the running back position besides our guy Nick Singleton, who's a rookie. So Carnell Tate, are you in on this? His ADP is roughly wide receiver 30.
Wide receiver 30 seems pretty reasonable to me for a guy that has, X receiver speed, size, hands. I know he's not the fastest guy in the world, but when you talk about outside playmakers, Carnell Tate is the guy that you want out there. Wan'Dale Robinson, more of a secondary slot option than he is a target hog. And then Chimere DK and Alec Ayamanor, both of those guys are 4th-round picks from last year. So neither one of them realistically is going to carve out any more of the target share. This is now Cam Ward and Carnell Tate. And I praise the Titans for there's nowhere to hide for Cam Ward anymore. It's sink or swim. They gave him basically what he needed in the receiving game to prove that he is their franchise quarterback, and he's going to make it happen. And I don't think there was a better guy on the board than Carnell Tate for them to make it happen. Bit of a surprise that they take him at 4. That's really high. That is very high draft capital. So in terms of a landing spot, I would have rather seen him probably in New York or Washington if we're talking ideal landing spots, but this one's pretty good.
And they brought in, Brian Daboll, who is not a great head coach, but a good coordinator. We saw him bring the most out of Jackson Dart last year, who was a very raw prospect. Cam Ward was much more pro-ready. Now you got second-year Cam Ward. What he did with Jackson Dart as a rookie in a really bad situation, this should be wheels up for Cam Ward. When I say wheels up, I'm saying a professional, a mini CJ Stroud level season, right? A guy that's just sitting in the pocket that can move a little bit, make plays, kind of break the pocket, make big plays. And Carnell Tate is that guy, right? Ideally, he's the guy downfield that he was missing last year, because last year it was literally Io Manor and Ridley for a couple weeks. But is Ridley? Are you off Ridley? Is Ridley done here in this conversation?
Yeah, there's nothing attaching Ridley to this franchise beyond this year. And I'm not even sure what his post June 1 cut is. I don't think he's getting cut, but like he's pretty much like for fantasy purposes, I don't think there's a reason to give Ridley a second thought. It's one more year. So if you got Carnell Tate in Dynasty, like if it's not a super flex, for me, he's the 102 easily because Ridley's gone after this year. So Tate's got all the runway in the world on his rookie contract.
I don't love the player, but I do like the landing spot, I guess is how I'd break it down, because I had Carnell Tate at wide receiver 6, if you remember. And second round pick, I feel like he's a good player. Jordan Tyson, number 2, 8th pick of the first round to the Saints, and Kellen Moore. You like Tate more than Tyson in redraft next year? Well, let's frame it like that to start out.
Oh, man, that is really close. We're talking ADP agnostic.
Yeah, they're going pretty close. Wide receiver 30 and wide receiver 32. So it's literally a 6-pick difference.
Yeah, that's within the margin of error. I think I got to stick to my guns and say Tate, but it's really close. This is a good landing spot for Jordan Tyson and super high draft capital. Second receiver behind Chris Olave last year. You know who it was? It was Devon Bailey. You want to guess how many yards he had receiving last year? It was under 300. Wasn't very good. That's unacceptable for a team that's trying to bring along a rookie quarterback in Tyler Shuck. And they realized that it was unacceptable, and thus the drafting of Jordan Tyson. Great landing spot. Like he's going to be able to step into easily on the opposite side of Chris Olave. Hopefully, our guy Chris Olave can stay healthy. He was healthy for the most part last year. He had that blood clot, which is a freak thing. But Tyson, he's got he's a delightful route runner. Love watching this guy play. There's just the question of injury concerns. So now is that magnified with Carnell Tate, or those concussions still in the back of my head a little bit? He's a tough guy, over the field stuff, inning breaking routes, etc. Like I'm looking forward to seeing what Tyson can do. Do I think he's going to contribute right away? I think it's going to be more of an on ramp for Tyson, just because I think Shuck still has a few learning curves to get through. Like Shuck is still prone to pull it down and run versus Cam Ward, if that makes sense.
Well, Shuck could still be a pumpkin. I know everyone anoints these guys, and it's not even a full year, right? I mean, CJ Stroud had an elite first year, rookie year, the entire year. Shuck played 10 games, 9 games, whatever the hell it was. I mean, and I love Shuck coming out, but there's still a chance he's a pumpkin. I guess here's what I want to talk to you about is the deployment. And this is what matters, because in Kellen Moore's offense, the slot is everything. We saw him move CeeDee Lamb 75% of the snaps in the slot when he was there, dominates. We've seen it in other locations as well. So if Jordan Tyson's a slot receiver, this is the biggest smash in fantasy. If Jordan Tyson's going to be used as the move guy and it's mostly going to be Chris Olave in the slot, then Chris Olave is a smash. So we got to figure out how they're going to use these guys. Is it going to be an interchangeable mix? Because they're both very similar inside-outside type players. Their size is similar. They're not huge, but they're not small. So who would you project to be the majority snap leader from the slot for the Saints? Because this is what matters, really.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Chris Olave. I do foresee Tyson stepping kind of into that Shaheed role. Remember, they lost Shaheed last year. More of a design touches, field stretching kind of role versus moving around the formation, get him in the slot, get him in motion kind of guy. I think that's still going to be Chris Olave. So when it boils down to that, I think you're still going to have to give the edge to Chris Olave.
Are you worried at all about the health concerns?
No.
I know all the teams kind of cleared him medically, but that's one thing Carnell Tate doesn't have. Carnell Tate has the safety, and this is why I feel like he went ahead of Jordan Tyson, is that there was no real red flags. In my mind, there were, because I have never seen him be the number 1. But medical red flags are worse, because if the guy's not on the field, what are you getting in the top 10? You're getting a guy that's oft injured, that's playing 10 games a year. Yeah.
I don't give any consideration to the medical things anymore. He's cleared everything. If he had slipped out of the top 15, I think that that would give me more data points that some teams had some concerns about that, because outside of that, there's not a whole lot of yellow flags, orange flags on his profile. So if he had dropped, I think I would have to wait. As it stands, everybody is injury prone until they're not. And you go back and you look, and I don't think that these things are necessarily interconnected, which leads me to believe more fluky than anything else. So fully cleared, I say wheels up. Let's see what the kid can do right off the bat.
Jason got Carl Tate at pick 4 in a rookie draft, and you said he should be number 2, right? If it's not a super flex.
Yeah, who are you drafting
it should
over
be Jeremiah Love.
Like
it should be Love and then Carnell Tate, right? I mean, Tyson might have gone ahead of him.
Yeah, Tyson probably.
Oh, tight end premium. Oh, it is a super flex. Sorry, tight end premium super flex. So Sadiq probably went ahead of him. Mendoza went ahead of him. There you go.
On 102.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's fair.
So tight end premium. Nobody's drafted Sadiq at 103, even in tight end premium, are they?
Oh, and tight end premium, yes, 100%, because tight ends go in the first round, like top 5. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you get 1.5 per reception. So, like, if you get a guy that has 100 catches, now Sadiq isn't going to have that, but you know what I'm saying. Mal says Tyson's quarterback proof, and I think Rattler being the quarterback would be better for Tyson. Tyson serves Pickens' role. Olave Lamb role. Vele is the Rashid Shaheed role. Vele is a big slot, though. So Vele is also was a 25, 26-year-old rookie. So this kind of spells the end for Vele. And if anything, I think they're going to use a lot more of Juwan Jennings as that big third receiver because they like Oscar Delp. We love Oscar Delp as essentially the inline guy that's going to play every snap. Once he gets his feet wet, right? Acclimated to the NFL?
Acclimated to the NFL. It didn't work in Georgia. Could it work in New Orleans? Certainly for him. New Orleans seems to think so. Vele, the death knell for Vele was the 25 receptions last year. It's not necessarily his age. It's just he's not a very good player.
Well, it just sucks that he got hurt right when he was coming on because he was actually – there was a 3-game stretch where he was equaling Olave's production. And as a guy that had Chris Olave everywhere, it's right before Olave really took off, right? And it was like week 10, 11, 12, and then Olave was 13 through 17. He dominated. Vele was actually outproducing him. And he caught some touchdowns. He was going like 5 for 50. And it was really upsetting me. And then he went down. And then that was when Chris Olave just went fucking nuclear, man.
Yeah, but Chris Olave is Chris Olave. Like anybody can have a 3-game stretch. It's a super small sample size. I don't take anything from that. Look at what Rico Dowdle did over 3 games last year. And it's still Rico Dowdle.
Don't besmirch Rico. Don't ever besmirch Rico in my presence. Jason, Carnell Tate catches everything his hands touches. You think he'll have the same success in the NFL? I hope he gets at least 25% target share. So he will get the target share. That's why I love the landing spot. That's why I'm higher on Carnell Tate than I don't want to say most, but as a guy that hated him in the draft process, it's wild that he's coming in to be a true number 1, which is not his. I don't think that's his true career projection, right? He does comp as a very good 2. George Pickens level, right? George Pickens is that borderline 1 or 2. If you put him at 1, he's not going to have the same success. Carnell Tate's similar, but the 25% target share seems pretty locked in, right? I mean, it's got to be with Cam Ward.
25% is like who else is catching passes? So like Ridley, assuming he's healthy, he's going to get an 18% target share, and there's a few guys here and there. But yeah, 25% seems like a very attainable projection for him. Yeah.
Well, let's think about this real quick. So you're not with Ridley. Okay, Ridley's there, but Gunnar Helm and Daniel Bellinger are just guys. Cam Ward does not dump the ball down. He doesn't scramble and doesn't dump the ball down. So you're getting more targets. He just extends plays and chucks it downfield. So you're not having the tight end really affect it too much. You're not having the running backs. Tony Pollard did not have enough in the receiving game last year. Maybe that changes this year under Brian Daboll, but there's not a big threat from those 2 positions. And then the wide receiver core, it's somewhat deep. Wan'Dale Robinson has been a big target hog in New York, but that was not a necessity. Like when everyone was healthy in New York, was Wan'Dale Robinson having 10 targets a game? Absolutely not.
No, it was a 8-game stretch last year where he just was force-fed the ball because who else was actually like look at that wide receiver room towards the end of the year. It was an absolute disaster. So like I said, he's coming in. He's more of a slot merchant than he is an actual target hog. Like Carnell Tate didn't have a super high target share in college, but Ohio State is known to have some really good receivers there, so it kind of makes sense. He's gonna have to sink or swim. He's gonna be fed the ball.
All right, Jason thinks Tyson could have 130 plus targets. That's super aggressive. Move him everywhere. I think they will use him everywhere. And he thinks Lemon is the best landing spot out of the 3. So let's move on to Mekhi Lemon. This is my worst landing spot personally. I don't like it. It's tied to Jalen Hurts, who is a winner, but no volume, not a great quarterback. Let's just assume A.J. Brown's gone. We're going to assume A.J. Brown's gone. Devonta Smith is the number one, man. He has been destined for this role. I know he doesn't have the body archetype to be a number one traditionally, but Devonta Smith's a fucking boss. Bringing in Eli Stowers with Dallas Goedert. They brought in Wicks. I think Hollywood Brown was going to have a role, and I think Saquon Barkley is going to have a boom in the passing game. Like a boom. I think 50 to 60 receptions. That's why I love Saquon Barkley this year. Mekhi Lemon, good player, but do you see the target upside? What's the target upside of Mekhi Lemon in Philly?
80 targets.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Kill the guy, why don't you? You just killed him. You just murdered him. He's gone. You murdered him. He's gone.
The most popular Halloween mask this year is O.J. Simpson. And the most popular Halloween greeting is, I'll kill you and that guy who's bringing over your glasses, or a trait.
Yeah. 66 catches on 80 targets this year seems reasonable. Like, they didn't bring in Dontavian Wicks to not use him, right? So, yeah, A.J. Brown is, for all intents and purposes, gone, but they've got now they got Devonta Smith, Lemon, Wicks, Hollywood Brown, what's his name? The tight end. Brains, not the guy that drafted.
And Stowers.
Goddard, yeah, and Stowers. And you mentioned, I'm not sure it's going to be a huge uptick in the passing game for Barkley. And it's a low volume passing game in general. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be rough. Like, they did technically trade up and sneak in front of the Steelers, but this feels like a Jaden Reed light situation to me. I don't think there's going to be a 1-for-1 replacement for A.J. Brown. I think they're just going to move the ball or spread the ball around.
So, if A.J. Brown's gone, do you think there's any world that Mekhi Lemon receives the same targets that Devonta Smith has been receiving in this offense the last few years?
No, I think I just said that. I don't think that there's a 1-for-1 replacement on this roster. I think it's just
So I'm going to read you his targets. So Devonta Smith, 104 targets, 136 targets, 112, 89, and 113. So you take away that 1 year, and I think that was the year that A.J. Brown got a little dinged up. It's essentially been 105 to 110 targets. That was Devonta Smith in this offense. And 3 of those years was without Saquon Barkley. So I think that 110 is the cap. And that's an aggressive cap. 100 is probably the cap for Mekhi Lemon. And where are the touchdowns coming? Because I get it, he's competitive. The dude is he plays a lot bigger than his size. But where are the touchdowns coming? Because Dallas Goedert scored 13 last year. Saquon Barkley did not score enough. The tush push was awful last year. That might come back. Barkley might come back. Dallas Goedert's not going away. Like, what is it? Is touchdown upside 6, 8? Like, give me Elijah Surratt. We'll talk about him later. Like, touchdown upside. Give me Surratt playing as the number 2 or number 3 with Lamar Jackson over a guy playing with, a bum and Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. So Goddard's not catching 13 touchdowns again. That was a hallmark of the Kevin Pachulo offense. But, 8 touchdowns for Goddard, and then throwing Stowers there, 3 or 4 touchdowns. Like, Lemon's touchdown upside, probably 6. Like, realistically, there's just not enough meat on the bone for everybody that's in this receiving room. It's an unfortunate situation, even with AJ Brown gone. Like, and if they're going to keep running the way they do with Hurts, and especially the tush push hasn't gone anywhere. So they even though it wasn't nearly as effective as it has been in years past, they don't care. They're still going to run it, right? So that takes away, short slants and curls and everything that you might normally run from the 1-to-1. Maybe 6 touchdowns.
Lemon only needs 8 targets a game to break 130. I mean, 8 targets is a lot per game for a rookie in, I want to say, a crowded room, but it's mostly like target share is relative because the passing volume won't be there. Like, it shouldn't be their story because you saw the last couple, the 2 years they tried to throw the ball a lot more with Jalen Hurts, they've lost. The 1 year they said, Jalen Hurts, guess what you're going to do? You're going to tush push, you're going to throw RPOs and go balls, and Saquon Barkley is going to carry the ball 30 times a game. They win the Super Bowl. So why would they not do that? Especially they're getting rid of A.J. Brown. Like, that's just, I think it's going to be a different philosophy there in Philly. It should be, right?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, it should be, but I'm not convinced that this this offense is going to bounce back to 2023 levels either. Like they took a major step back last year, just in terms of passing efficiency, overall offensive efficiency, offensive DVOA, all the metrics said they took a step back. So, we're still talking a rookie here. Like, and he's not even a top 10 rookie or a top 15 rookie. He slid. And I know the Eagles drafted up to take him. Drafted up, technically. They went over the Steelers.
One pick.
But like this isn't a top 5, top 10, top 15 guy. Like a lot of teams who had needs passed on him. So I'm just not sure that there is a regular role. He'll have games. Don't get me wrong. He'll have a game where he has 8 targets and 130 yards. But that's going to be few and far between. You're not going to know when to start him this year. This is a 27 play and beyond.
Last point here. Again, we go all encompassing here, guys. We're not just talking about these guys. We're talking about the whole situation. Devonta Smith, when and if A.J. Brown gets traded, which we all know he's going to be traded, where would you rank him in fantasy? Is he borderline top 12 receiver without A.J. Brown?
I don't think so. I think he's comfortably in that wide receiver 2, like the middle of the range of wide receiver 2, 16 to 20 somewhere. I don't think he reaches up into that top 12. That's a tall rung ladder, tall rung to reach in a low volume passing offense.
I'm trying to think, man. The upside though of Devonta Smith, if they start to pass the ball more, which none of us know, we can act like we do. We don't know if they do. The talent's there. He's familiar with the offense. Look at all the new guys, right? Hollywood Brown new, Dontavian Wicks new, Kyle Lemon's a rookie, Dallas Goedert's old, Stowers new. So that is, and Jalen Hurts is not great at reading the field. Right? I mean, we all know that. So we're gonna hit Devonta Smith with 9 targets a game, 10 targets a game. That's the upside of Devonta Smith with the talent, with, the deep shots, right? He is the go ball guy because no one else on the team is that. Nobody else.
Right. No, I understand that, and I get that. They don't do a ton of that every game, though, so that's kind of concerned. They don't go deep on a pretty consistent basis. And the other thing is, like, the targets that A.J. Brown got, like, those were big boy targets, right? Like, A.J. Brown could moss guys on a regular basis. I'm not convinced that Devonta Smith has either the frame or the capability of doing that on a regular basis. So they're not going to give him the same kind of targets that they give A.J. Brown, which were super, high percentage throws, high valuable targets.
All right, let's move on to number 4, which is Casey Concepcion, my boy, getting drafted 24th overall by the Browns. You fucking hate this landing spot, don't you, Storey?
I hate everything with the Browns. I hate till they solve that quarterback situation. I want nothing to do with it. Maybe Harold Fannin, but they added a lot of pass catching there, so that's rough. Like, no, I don't know. You tell me. You love Casey Concepcion. What makes this such a great landing spot?
Well, I'm not saying that it's not ideal. I think I'm going to phrase it like it's not ideal, but Todd Monken makes it a good landing spot, right? That is, we saw what he did with Zay Flowers, and I guess the downside is the red zone stuff with Zay Flowers, but Concepcion's a different player. He's a little thicker, a little bigger, and Lamar Jackson is a tight end heavy guy in the red zone. So I'm not going to blame all this on Todd Monken, but I love Denzel Boston being alongside of him. Denzel Boston being that true big X receiver. Jerry Jeudy being, I hate to call Jerry Jeudy a pro. He's experienced. How about that? Jerry Jeudy's experienced, and Casey Concepcion can be used in every way possible. Like what we saw from JSN last year. I know that's crazy to compare him to JSN, but out of the backfield, in the slot, out wide, in motion, this is Casey Concepcion's game. Probably the best guy with the ball in his hands in this draft. And I like this landing spot. I think it's above average. And I know it's crazy to say because it's the Browns. I really do like it. I think he pairs very well with Shedeur Sanders. And we got to see who's the starting quarterback. But Shedeur Sanders is get the ball out of his hands quick. He does like to hold it, but I think they coach that out of him, right? Like this is not Colorado, Shedeur. Like this is the NFL. You are a pretty accurate passer. You don't have a big arm. You're not very mobile. You think you're mobile when you're running back 25 yards, taking a sack. You're not mobile. Throw the ball to Casey Concepcion underneath and let him do the work for you. I think it's a fair landing spot, and I love his ADP based around these other guys. Like, yeah, he doesn't have the upside as Lemon and Tyson and Tate, but you're getting him literally 250% later. I mean, you're getting him pick 140. Let's go, dude. I'm in for a bench receiver.
Yeah, I'm
Worth a shot or no? I comped him to Odell Beckham, dude.
I know that's ridiculous. That's ridiculously aggressive. I watch this kid quite a bit, and he's got some drop issues that he needs to clean up. But you talked about it. Move him over to the formation, quick, good route runner. He's got tackle breaking ability, which you wouldn't expect from a sub 200-pound receiver necessarily. But he kind of feels like his career upside is Zay Flowers, and that's good. That's good. But it's certainly not difference making, and I don't think it'll be there in year one. I don't see him being a regular contributor on this Browns offense. I just want nothing to do with this Browns. They drafted Denzel Boston too, right? And they still got Jerry Jeudy there, and Cedric Tillman, and Harold Fannin. Until that, Conception is great in the slot or the screen game, but if none of the quarterbacks can get him the ball accurately. Like when you're talking screens, it's all about timing. And if they're off a little bit or if it's inaccurate, like that whole play gets blown up. So I don't see it. I don't see it in year one, at least.
All right. We agree to disagree. Anti-wand of trust for this one. We're not going to bring this out. You're saying this nice little vibrator. We're not going to turn it on. Okay. Next guy, Omar Cooper.
We both love Tate.
Okay, but I don't like Tate the player. I just like the landing spot. Number 5, Omar Cooper, 30th pick of the first round of the Jets. They were busy. Sadiq at 16. Now you get Omar Cooper. You have a lot of mouths there. Geno Smith, who is clearly better than what we're talking about with the Browns, right? I don't like this spot for this year, for Dynasty, you name it. Omar Cooper is a good player. He is a pro-ready player. I wish the Rams had taken him. Right? If you want to talk about his dynasty outlook, I don't like it. I don't like anything about Omar Cooper to the Jets besides real life. I think real life's a nice fit. I do like this, but for fantasy, like what are we looking at with Omar Cooper? We're getting nothing, right? We're getting 3 for 30 most games.
Probably. I do see this as more of a dynasty play than a year one play, which, when you're talking about like how good Omar Cooper was like from the slot last year, like he had moved him from outside in 24 mostly to the slot last year. Like his over the middle of the field stuff is outstanding. So he can give him a lot of stuff over the middle of the field, let him make plays after the catch. I think he can develop into something if this Jets offense takes a step forward. Like a lot of people think. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that, but if we see improvements this year, I could see down the road how they could turn into a good offense. And you have Garrett Wilson on one side and Omar Cooper, you move around the formation a lot. He could work out in Dynasty. It's certainly more of a Dynasty play for me. He's not even on my board in redraft.
Not even on. He's essentially a handcuff for Garrett Wilson. But like we're not in the market of drafting handcuff wide receivers.
Yeah, I don't know. Even though that
it doesn't exist.
Ascribe to that philosophy that there are handcuff wide receivers because there's just not like. The way the target share doesn't get distributed to one guy, it gets moved around to different guys. And yeah, you're gonna have bumps in catches and receptions for some guy, but it just doesn't necessarily work that way. Like if Garrett Wilson went down, I don't see Omar Cooper having a Garrett Wilson-esque season.
Todd Monken is a magpie collecting goodies. What is your dude? You gotta laugh at a story, which is nice, and it is true. I do like what the Browns did as much as you don't like the landing spot. Is there a chance that because they have 2 options and we'll add Taylon Green as a third option, who we know is super raw and probably not ready for prime time. What are the chances the Browns actually have a functional offense? And guess what? Sorry, if they have a functional offense, and I want to say top 17, top 15, top 19 offense, this is a playoff team, right? With this defense, like this is a playoff team.
So it depends on how you define functional, because they could be a functional offense. But they were in so many one-score games because of
I just said it. Top 18. Yeah. Top 18.
Well, I mean, what does that necessarily mean? Like offenses in general are taking a step back in the NFL as they get more towards the ground and pound. And we talked about 2 tight end, 3 tight end sets as you avoid like deep field stuff, et cetera, et cetera. So what does that necessarily mean? I don't know what top 17, 18 matters when you got that many pass catchers. As it stands, I talk about how bad the quarterback play is. Their defense is going to be as good as they were last year for the most part. So there's like the games that they're not going to need to score a ton of points necessarily in order to win games. I just don't see there's any like scoring upside, even if they're a functional offense.
Mouth says, Story, I'm the only one who thinks don't worry. Mouth is single-handedly getting to this goal here of an underdog draft to end the show. Guys, help Story or help Mouth out. Also help Story out. Help Mouth out here. So he's not doing it on his own. We appreciate Mouth. He's the man.
Oh.
Guys, Downtown Sports, if you've not heard it, they have he made a comment earlier. He's having the voice. Who is it, Mouth? The voice of the Clippers. It wasn't the Clippers. It was another main guy. He had Noah Eagle on his show. Followed me, Story. I went on the show on Tuesday, and Noah Eagle followed me, which made me feel pretty goddamn special to follow a great like Noah Eagle. But that's Downtown Sports, boys. Link in the description. So yeah, the voice of the Clippers he's having on. So he's having some main guy, big guys on the show. They're on YouTube now too. So search Downtown Sports. But also link in the description. 24 platforms. Just search them on your podcast platform, or just go to YouTube. Give them a like, give them a follow, and also just check them out because talking a lot of NBA stuff. So if you're an NBA fan, we're not covering that on this show. We call them the sister program here, and we're the little brother program of them. Whatever you want to shake it down, Mouth, you're the man. We appreciate you. Mouth says the Browns D taking a step back because Schwartz left. That makes a lot of sense.
Like Sturdy Wings from Role Models, like the little brother. Like
Sturdy Wings, 100%. Yeah. Oh, Sturdy Wings is great. She's like, I used to suck dick all the time, and like now I'm helping fucking cultivate these kids. Jason, Gino's gonna be a good fit for the Jets? ? LO, he will hyper target Wilson. He's got a lot of options. This is a good situation. This is the exact opposite situation Gino had last year. Last year was beyond the fact that there was no talent, especially when Brock Bowers got hurt. There was no play calling, Pete Carroll, no offensive line. This is awful. This is an actual, we want to say, professional style offense. Even though you have Aaron Glenn being the head coach, who is the defensive guy. But it's a good situation, right?
Yeah, I mean, somebody's got to be bottom of the league. It's as good a chance to be the Jets as it is literally anybody else. I mean, I would put equal odds that the Jets are as bad as the Miami Dolphins on offense.
Jason said, any other dynasty leagues to join before August? We're just doing one, man. We have a lot of redrafts, though. We are doing a lot of redrafts for the channel. So if you want to hop in, we'll start filling those up soon. So we have probably 6 of them, Story. We can play against me and Story and Ray and it's going to be competitive. The Dynasty League is going to be great. But I'll talk to you in the Discord, Jason. I sent you a DM, so check that out. Let's move on to Deshaun Stribling.
Did I see that draft is next week?
Yeah, it's a slow draft, though, so it's no worries.
Okay.
Yeah, stay up on shit, Story. Deshaun Stribling, first pick of the second round to the Niners. Head scratcher, man. Wild pick. We don't like this. Maybe for Dynasty, I like it being tied to, Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan. But this year, I guess it's a play on Ricky Pearsall's health if you want to draft Stribling, but he's not going to be a fantasy contributor unless there's injuries. And you also have George Kittle coming back at some point.
I have kind of readjusted my thinking on this, and while I don't agree with the pick, because if you take DeJohn Stribling there, even though he was steaming up draft boards, like you completely negate game theory and value propositions, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's a terrible pick from that perspective, but from a fit, I do think his game style, his profile, his frame, his game style fits the Shanahan offense when it comes to like over the middle kind of stuff, right? Like this is the kind of stuff that Juwan Jennings would do. And it's not going to be Mike Evans and it won't be Ricky Pearsall. So you might as well have a guy, if you're going to want a guy, that's 4'3", or whatever, 6'2", blazing speed at that size, he's as good a bet to do it as anybody. Even if he works out for fantasy, for real life, it's still a bad pick, relatively speaking. But I don't think it's a non-zero chance that he's fantasy relevant just because of the scheme that Shanahan runs there. I think John Lynch is an idiot, and I would hope that he's on the chopping block. But we have to take notice when a guy lands in San Francisco, and what Brandon Ayuk, like he developed into a downfield guy while he was with San Francisco, but he came into the league as a very similar profile to Stribling when it comes to the type of routes that he ran at Arizona State. So I see it. I understand it. Probably
And the
not.
blocking stuff was dribbling, right? The blocking stuff's huge.
Yes,
Because that will make him. That's why they said they drafted him. They targeted him. They like his competitiveness. They like his profile, and that's the kind of guy they love. So that could have him see the field. But what does that really mean? I guess with the price point is super low, and for Dynasty, I like it more than redraft. I guess is what I'll leave it at.
Yeah, and they did add Mike Evans, so I would take shots at him in best ball, but from a redraft perspective, him and literally everybody else that we're going to talk about, forget about it. Like, keep an eye on him. Like, if they start to have an Odell Beckham type season, you can take notice. But even Stribling, even though they loved him, even though they drafted him super early, like, he won't be. I don't think he'll be consistent in fantasy in year one.
There's some gems though, so let's not write everyone off. Let's get to MVP's comment. Sorry, I missed this one. MVP. Who do you like more in Dynasty? Josh Downs, Jalen Coker, or Trey Harris? This is a tough one.
So I'd rule out Jalen Coker, and it's a toss up.
Why would you rule out Jalen Coker? What do you mean? He's a number 2 in a ascending.
I know, but he's a number 2 for Bryce Young, and like Carolina.
Trey Harris, I love Trey Harris, but Trey Harris is barely even on the rate. Barely on the radar. I love Trey Harris, but
Dynasty. I know there's a lot of cokeheads out there, but I don't think that Coker is that great of a player. I think Downs could have a really sneaky good season this year. I'm excited about what. Now we got to hope that Daniel Jones comes back healthy, but I think Downs could have a breakout campaign. So because Trey Harris is still, it's Lad McConkey and it's Quentin Johnson's got his role, and they drafted what's his name? We'll get to him later. I would go with Downs. I think there's a greater chance that he turns into a high value dynasty asset than either of these other two guys. Although Harris is close for me.
So you rank it Downs, Harris, Coker, huh?
Yeah.
Man, I'm a big Trey Harris guy, but Trey Harris has to be last on this list because there's so much more. There's a lot of moving parts with this pick, right? Where Jalen Coker is the number 2. I know he's the number 2, at least this year, and I love the talents. I have seen Jalen Coker be good in the NFL field. I have not seen Trey Harris, although I'd love this film at Ole Miss. Josh Downs is elite in terms of metrics. So it's Downs, Coker, Harris for me in that order.
Okay. Well, we're lockstep on Downs then. So if you're making the choice between those 3 guys, there you go.
Yeah. Mouth, $20 holler. I owe a shot here and a chug. After round 1, everyone wondered what the Rams were having. The rest of the weekend became Coachella. By the way, let's go for the main tourney. It's Friday and we should misbehave. What's the main tourney? Are you talking about Best Ball Mania? Well, I just want to advise everyone, do not draft Best Ball Mania before bye weeks come out. That is just not a good investment, right? Because we don't know bye weeks. We're definitely doing a draft now. Mouth just bought ourselves a draft. And shout out Mouth, who is literally single-handedly buying us a draft, funding the program. Everyone take a cue from Mouth. And Mouth doesn't even have very much money. He just loves the program. And guess what? When we boom, they boom because Downtown Sports is legit. And we're kind of tight here. But appreciate you, Mouth. I owe a shot and a beer. And I already had. Storey, how many beers do you think I've had? Can you guess how many beers I have had?
What time is
Alan, what's my character again?
You're the doorman.
Right.
And how many drinks have I had at this point?
You're not in the scenario.
I've had 5.
So, okay, marvelous. Let's begin whenever you're ready.
Excuse me, sir. Have you?
Wow! What?
Jesus Christ! Why did you do that?
Oh, well, she came at me, and that was sort of my instinct.
That was amazing.
That was great,
You
right?
got me like a foot off the ground.
Are you okay?
Yeah, no, it doesn't hurt.
Didn't it make you feel humiliated? Did it make you feel small?
That's what it is. It made me feel teeny tiny, like Thumbelina.
That's what I was going for, Thumbelina.
Get out of here.
That's the highest I've ever gotten.
It's never gotten me that high
You're
before.
like you haven't called the police.
Well, why would you call the police?
Oh, wait, hold on. Is that sexual harassment?
No, that is sexual assault.
Really?
What is the setup there? That is a wild scene.
Oh, I asked how many drinks have I had, and then Charlie's in the background saying, I've had 5 drinks.
I'm asking for the plot of that particular episode.
It's a sexual harassment seminar.
Don't they own a bar? Why would they need to go to a sexual harassment seminar?
It's a long story. I'll cue you in later. So how many drinks? I've had 10, I guess is the answer.
I was going to go with 11.
Now I have to chug one. Hey, all right. Okay, cool. Anyways, Mouth, you're the man. Appreciate you. So we were chatting about why I pour this up. Stribbling. Let's move on to Denzel Boston, seventh pick in the second round. If you hated Concepcion, you definitely hate Denzel Boston, right? With the quarterback play there. Even though Deshaun Watson would pair well with him, but we still don't know who the hell's starting there.
Yeah, this is a surprise pick with Judy, Bond, and Tillman already there. And, Concepcion's a different type of wide receiver. Boston's a big body, 6'3", 210 guy. None of these players are necessarily like good enough to keep the rookies off the field, but every single one of them is good enough to get on the field in 3 and 4 wide receiver sets. And it just leads me to believe that there's just going to rotate guys. Like, this is going to be Green Bay South. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Deciding to go for a second wide receiver in round 2 when they just took Concepcion, when they had a ton of needs, I don't get it. I think it's not a great landing spot, and it's not a great pick for the Browns.
I like it in real life. I like Boston as a real life prospect. Unless he becomes Mike Evans, I just don't see the appeal here. And best ball, I can see it this year, but not into it, man. This is why I love Concepcion, because Boston's going to be that sacrificial X. It's going to require some safety help and, the best corner, because he is a man amongst boys. So Jeremy Bernard, second round, 15th pick. I like this in real life. This is a Steeler through and through, right? Jeremy Bernard is a Steeler. This is just scream Steeler to me. But you have Michael Pittman there. You have DK Metcalf there. Pat Freiermuth's going to get his targets. So thoughts on Jeremy Bernard? Is this any reason to even draft him in best ball outside of stacking and last round pick? Because we love the player. He's a very pro ready player, because I feel like his ceiling athletically is very high, but he's a guy who's going to come in and kind of just do his thing, right? Like a Deebo Samuel type role and player. Yeah.
He was pretty efficient at Alabama, but he wasn't overly productive. Someone told me that they when the Steelers draft a wide receiver, we got to pay attention, because the Steelers have been one of the best at evaluating wide receiver talents. And I agree with that to a certain extent, but I think that has started to slip over the last 3 or 4 years. We haven't seen a whole lot of like tremendous wide receiver groups or wide receiver games even out of Pittsburgh. I think they had 140 receptions total to their wide receivers last year. Aaron Rodgers is still in flux, and their other quarterbacks are Mason Rudolph and Will Howard, and they drafted somebody, right?
Will Howard, Drew Aller.
Drew Aller. Yeah, who's a project.
Not for this year. He's a project.
But he's still a project. So, yeah, it's very much a Steelers pick. Like, it was kind of a reactionary pick. They got very publicly Wally pipped in the first round, and they're like, all right, we'll take our first second-round pick, and let's just find a guy that is old-school Steelers. This is a guy I don't even see a reason, like best ball. Like, I don't know if he's going in the 20th round in best ball. Sure, go for it.
All right, that was the top 8. We're going to come back and hit you guys with 8 through 20, touch on a lot of these guys. Also, there's some deep shot guys like, I don't want to say it, Deion Burks, who went in the 7th round, which is insane going in the 7th round, but we like Deion Burks. We're going to chat about all these guys, and we're going to hit you guys with the intro after that. All these guys coming up.
I'm surprised. I thought it would have been something Vrabel related tonight with just everything that's
I moved off Vrabel. Did you see what our boy Luke Skywalker said about our president, Donald Trump?
No, I didn't. When did this come out?
Oh, man, it just came out. So I have that's what the intro was. So
I saw the intro, yeah.
Just for you, buddy. So essentially, he posted a picture of Trump dead, if only. And his defense was he's hoping he lives long enough to pay for his atrocities. But he deleted it. Of course, all these guys delete their shit right away, which is just hilarious, because once it's out there, people fucking screenshot it and retweet it. It's rough because our boy, we love Luke Skywalker, but Mark Hamill. And we're not really political guys. At least I don't vote personally. I don't want to get into it with you, Storey, but what the fuck, bro? Like, as much as I'm not a Trump guy, I'm not an anti-Trump guy. I'm just kind of right down the middle. But like saying you wish the guy dies is just, Mark Hamill, you're a multi-millionaire. Everyone loves you. Like, don't get in controversy. Live your life and bang whores and hang out and live in your mansion. Don't be ripping on the president.
So
what's wrong with these people?
Not to get political, but and I won't come down on a stance about Mark Hamill or Trump or anything like that. But the issue that we're seeing in this country, and not just this country, around a lot of the developed world, is the polarization on either side. So everything is kind of shifting where in order to get elected now, you have to appeal to like the more the farther outskirts of your party, or else you're just like a centrist, down the middle, X in name only kind of guy. And that kind of stuff, like we're starting to see more and more hyperbole related to it, and we're getting more and more that filters down into everyday life. So that's the issue that we're seeing, is just the polarization and these candidates that are extremely hardcore in the on the edges. That's the problem. And then it incites stuff like people posting about wanting to see political figures dead, which I will condemn political violence in every way, shape, or form, in every fashion. We should be able to come together and resolve our differences reasonably, but that is not happening in the American political spectrum right now. Congress itself is so divided that we can't get reasonable legislation even pushed through because of the necessary supermajority that is required to get real legislation passed. So we're just seeing a stall on the federal level when it comes to the legislative branch is not really doing what they're supposed to be doing, which creates a vacuum, which allows the executive to kind of step in and take greater control, more power, greater control of the reins. And we're starting to see and when you kind of concentrate into one of the three branches in this, then things, they're going to do what they want. And I could keep going, but we're in a bad spot right now. And until we see some reform on the federal level, it's going to continue to get worse.
Mark Hamill, come on, man. Like, collect your royalties, hang out. Like, does it really affect you? Does the gas prices affect you, Mark Hamill? Like, just ignore his tweets or all of his crazy tan bullshit, whatever. It is what it is. And if anything, Mark Hamill is a very, very wealthy individual. I don't think it's hurting his bottom line. So just shut the fuck up, Mark Hamill. I love Star Wars. I love you, Mark Hamill. Just shut up. Can we just all shut up about this and just live our lives? Unfortunately, I'm not going to try to slander Trump here. He's cultivating this environment, right? This absolutist environment that everyone's living in, which is just bullshit. Can we just chill out and just, you know what? We know what we're worried about, Storey. We're worried about Bucky Irving's 3-down workload. Like, we're worried about what is Bucky Irving's snap share. You know what? That's what matters to us because we're having a good time. We're enjoying life.
We're worried about being wrong about Trey Benson. And sometimes we're right about Trey Benson.
Exactly, dude. It's wild. You know what? One more thing, Storey. We're having a little fun around here. We're going to get to all the next list, but we got to get you a little something here. I'm a little lubed up. So I had this about 2 weeks for you, 2 weeks ago for you. And I didn't bring it up because I don't know the show. I think no one was watching the show at that time. It was a dead show. And I just moved on to the next thing. But so I was walking my dog the other night, coming back, and it was right when there was a crescent moon, which is just awesome to look at, right? You just see the little fucking sliver. And it just got me thinking of like how people believe the Earth's flat when like there's a million things, but the crescent moon alone is just like, this is a sphere and just part of it's lit up, right? And it's beyond just all the other things of time zones. And I don't want to get into the whole flat Earth thing, but people actually believe that the Earth is flat. You know what also they believe in? They believe that if you have a sex change, you become a woman, right? And they would believe you're a woman, even though you can't have periods or have babies, but they think they're a woman. So my question to you, Storey, is what is crazier to believe? The Earth is flat, or that a man that chops his dick off is a woman? Like an actual woman. What's crazier?
I don't really understand the question. What do you mean?
Crazier believe that the Earth is flat, or that a person that is transitions is actually that gender? They're changing their gender at birth. Like, what's crazier to believe? The Earth is flat, or that someone that transitions is a girl that was actually a guy?
Well, there are some scientific studies that indicate or that say that gender is a more of a fluid construct than it is a binary. Now, you look at it from a strictly genetic level, XX, XY, et cetera. That's a pretty clear delineation. But there are, there's a lot of consensus, especially among the psychiatric community, that people not only can be gender fluid, but that they can go back and forth throughout their lifetime. So when it comes to all that said, it's pretty clear that the Earth is round. Like, it's been proven pretty easily. You bring somebody out to the horizon, right, and you can show them. You can show
Caitlyn Jenner won Woman of the Year, though. Storey. She actually won Woman of the Year.
Show them a ship going down off the horizon, right, and that should be proof.
Trust me, I agree. That I feel like that's fact. I would say 99.9% chance the Earth is round, and I think but I know it's 100% chance if you're born a man and you chop your dong off and you wear a wig, you're a dude still. You get what I'm saying? It's a really tough conversation. It's funny, actually. It's actually hilarious that these people believe that.
But you're not talking about gender. You're talking about sex, and sex is a very like I said, on a genetic level, it's a very clear delineation: XX versus XY. Gender is a societal construct. So saying somebody's a man or a woman or transgender or androgynous or whatever it is, like those are, and it varies from society to society. When we're talking about Judeo-Christian,
women can have periods and babies.
Hello, doctor. Looks like I need an abortion.
An abortion?
Yeah, I've got one growing inside me. Now, you're going to scramble its brains or just vacuum it out?
Mr. Garrison.
Mrs. Garrison.
Mrs. Garrison, you can't have an abortion.
Don't you tell me what I can and can't do with my body. A woman has a right to choose.
No, I mean you're physically unable to have an abortion because you can't get pregnant.
But I missed my period.
You can't have periods either. You had a sex change, Mr. Garrison, but you don't have ovaries or a womb.
You mean I'll never know what it feels like to have a baby growing inside me and then scramble its brains and vacuum it out?
That's right.
But I paid $5,000 to be a woman. This would mean I'm not really a woman. I'm just a guy with a mutilated penis.
Basically, yes.
South Park.
There it is.
They'll skewer anybody.
Always ahead of it. They always said the Simpsons did it, but like South Park hit on these issues early. Jake says, I'm with Rob, though. I'm worried about some of these backfields more than anything. Dakota says, so much fantasy tonight. And Sports Jazz stands with Mark Hamill. So he is with his lightsaber up on that cliff, waiting for Trump, and he's going to slice him off. You know what? I support all opinions on this matter. I don't really give a fuck. I just thought it was a funny thing to talk about.
What's also funny is Disney has said they're going to kind of ditch the most recent trilogy and the characters from that to focus on the original characters, which means they basically spent $750 million building this franchise, and they're going to completely abandon it. That's wild to me from an entertainment perspective.
You know what I gotta hear? Remember on the Star Wars podcast how Ray was so defensive about Mark Hamill, and like we were saying Mark Hamill had a disappointing career, and he was like, Mark Hamill is fucking the Joker. He was he's awesome, and then now Mark Hamill comes out and like he loves Trump. So I wonder if he's now disowning Mark Hamill. I gotta get his opinion on that one, but that would be
get him nice and tuned up tomorrow night during. We call it open mic. Right?
I got it's called open bar. I gotta get used to him yelling at me, which you know what I take it in stride. Mouse says your sex is still male, your gender is woman. Now that's fair.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. That's exactly what I said. Gender is.
You said it in a lot of scientific terms, and that's why I was laughing the whole time, because I was like, I know Storey's going to go in some kind of like you're right on all your points, but it just like it goes over most people's heads. And I've had 11 beers now, so I'm just like, all right. That's why this show is the goated, by the way. Anyone that's watching this show, you guys all know you're going to get this. We're going to get back to wide receivers here in a little bit. Pretty good stuff, though. Pretty good stuff. So we do know the Earth is round, though. I think we
do. We also know that we went to the moon, right? We can agree on that. Men have been in the moon.
I still am questioning the footage. I question. I do believe we've gone to the moon, and I think Artemis for sure happened. I mean, I told you.
Like they would have been like the technology didn't exist to fake the moon landing from a broadcast perspective. It would have been more difficult to fake the moon landing than it was to actually just go to the moon. Because all you're doing is shooting them up in a giant rocket and putting them down on a piece of rock and then having them come back. That's relatively simple versus what it would have taken to actually fake the moon landing.
Jake says Rob definitely looks lit tonight. You know what? It's my mustache, but I always show up. I always perform. I might slur my words. I don't slur. I kind of just jumble them. I always put out a great product, as you guys know, and I have Mike's Storey with me, which is awesome.
Jambalaya.
Let's answer Sports Jazz's question. Anyway, looking forward to my rookie jambalaya. Like a Newman. Anyway, looking forward to my rookie draft and seeing who I end up with at the 103, leaning towards Tate, but could be swayed to Tyson. So we just chatted about this earlier, Sports Jazz. Real quick, who you taking? I'm taking Tate, even though, as you know, I hate Tate, the prospect, compared to Tyson.
Go back and, Tate. When this drops in the YouTube, you can go back and watch our segment on it, but I'm taking Tate all day long and twice on Sunday. All week long.
I think the main thing is, regardless of the fact he's the 1 and Tyson's the 2, I have more faith in Cam Ward than I do in Tyler Shuck. And I love Tyler Shuck. I'm a Tyler Shuck guy. But I'm also a Cam Ward guy. And there's a chance Tyler Shuck is a pumpkin. I don't think there's a chance Cam Ward is really a pumpkin. I really don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance either one of these guys are busts, but they both showed enough last year that I think they both can be successful. But give me the team that has had a younger pro-ready quarterback in Cam Ward.
By the way, shout out to Jake. We love you, Jake. All good, Sports Jazz. I answer every single question on the show. Dakota says, why did the wife want a mustache? She didn't. She hates it. The reason I had the mustache is she gave me so much shit when I originally had it 10 years ago when I first met her for a little stretch. And I just, ever since then, I just a little bit of a stick it. Be like, guess what? Don't tell me what to do. Even though I'll tell her what hair to color to dye her hair. But
do the drapes match or the carpet match the drapes?
This ain't the 70s, bro. Bitches don't have hair down there. Story, does your wife have fucking pubes? Is that what you're telling us?
No, I shouldn't be answering. She's not gonna watch this. Okay.
You set yourself up for that one, my dude.
Fucking massacre me.
Real quick, speaking of Jake, guess what? You know what? No, she's gonna massacre me and just be like, you can't go on a show anymore. Our show, which is our show, we've built Story from the ground up. I want to shout out to the Patreon bros before we get to the rest of the wide receivers. Y'all are the shit. Jake is the newest member. I somehow have you on Fanatic. He is a pro, but also got a shout out to my boy. Who the hell is it? I'm sorry. I'm slow. Our boy Jay. Sorry, Jay upgraded and so I got to switch up Jay and Jake in the order here, but appreciate all of you guys. But if you want to hop in, never a better time. We have the dynasty figured out, but we are starting to do the redraft and getting all those leagues here the next week. And there's a lot of time for that, but we're going to get priority for all of the higher ups. And anyone that joins, you're welcome to play multiple redraft leagues with the community, but you get a lot of stuff here. Access to the Discord, community fantasy leagues, guest appearances on the show. If you want to be a fanatic, you see all those guys all the time. Free merchandise, guys, hats, shirts, you name it. And probably the biggest perk, access to the early plays Story, 96 and 58. Mike Story is going to be having his college football plays here this next year, which is a nice perk, as well as Mouth with his game plays, his over-unders, his game lines, his money lines, all those things. You're getting prop bets from me. You're getting game lines from Mouth and college lines from Mr. Mike Story. We just print money on this motherfucking program. So professionalfanatics.com, link in the description. Hop in tonight, get in the Discord, join the community. That's the best part about the show, Story. The co-hosts are great. I think I'm pretty goddamn great. The show is great. But the community is probably the best thing. And all these guys are just chill, like-minded, funny. They know ball, too, and they're still watching because we can all still know more ball. And talking it out with everybody, these comments, that really lets us learn even more ball, right? And have little aha moments.
Little aha moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Jake says, Rob, you're a beast. There's no way I would make hosting this show. If I was drinking, I'd pass out after an hour, go on some rants. We've done a 5-hour show. I mean, the drinking it is what it is. That's what the show was. The organic creation of the show was me and my buddy getting drunk. The original co-host, my buddy Rob, it was called Rob Square, just getting hammered, talking for 2 or 3 hours at 3 a.m. And then we just slowly cultivated it to what it is today, which I'm happy with the product. I think I am. Mouth. This is right up Mouse. I didn't really plan on doing this, Mouth, but I told you I had a little bonfire and a girl session with my wife, and I gonna pound some beers, bro. Super nice out. It's like 60 degrees outside. It's the best fire weather ever, Storey, in Illinois right now.
Yeah, it's around that time of year in Illinois where it'll be 60 degrees, but you don't know if it's like the 40 degrees, 60 degrees, or if it's like the 80 degrees, 60 degrees. Like it's every.
This felt like more like 80.
Yeah.
There was no winds. Jake says it was funny not to see Rob for 3 days and tune in last night for the 70s style porn stash. I took 3 days off, Storey, just to start chilling a little bit. And I'm going to do, I told him 210 days until the end of the fantasy season. I did the math, 210 days until the end of the fantasy season from last night. I'm going to do 210 shows. I might miss a day or two, but I'll do 2 shows quite a bit before the season starts and some of my drafts. So you're going to see this program on literally every day until January. That's what we do.
Well, you certainly got the guests that can help shoulder the load.
Nico, Tom, Big Ray, Chaz, Mr. Mike Storey. You see him. All right, let's move on to the rest of our wide receivers, huh? Thank you, Faded. Appreciate you as always. Faded, you should definitely check out the community and hop in because you've been in for a long time and join the chat. The Discord is literally this show 24/7. And also hop in and play some leagues with us, man. Get the bets, and if you want to come on as a guest, we'd be welcome to have you. All right, let's move on here to Antonio Williams, a guy Storey I was not very high on. He is the 7th pick of the 3rd round, but I love this landing spot. This is one of the best ones we've had, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this is an early 3rd round pick, so it is a day 2 pick, but it's the first wide receiver drafted in the 3rd round. I think this is both a depth piece and it fills a hole for them, right? So they re-signed Traylon Burks. They added Diami Brown. They've got Van Jefferson there. All those are just Jags. They're all Jags. So they have a desperate need for a wide receiver 2 opposite Terry McLaurin, who is entering his age 31 season, by the way. Yet to be seen whether Antonio Williams can step up into that number 2 role. But if he does, the runway is free and clear if he ends up taking that job. There's a lot to like about this landing spot. There's a lot to like about the player, too. He dealt with a number of injuries at Clemson, but when he was healthy, he was one of the best wide receivers on the field. Freshman All-American, 21 touchdowns in his career. I don't really like the guys that feel the need to play through injury. I guess some people like that it shows toughness. I'd rather a guy just take a seat down, get healthy. But I mean, teams like that. So there's tons of opportunity for him. He's just got to step up and grab the bull by the horns.
If they send Brandon Ayuk, does this change it all for you? Because Ayuk can play all over the field, and I think they're going to sign Ayuk whenever that is. It might not be for a couple months because the Niners are saying, fuck you, ex-girlfriend. You're going to be homeless for a little while. That's what they're doing with Ayuk. But Ayuk is probably going there. That's the destination that makes most sense, right? So does it change it for you with Williams a little bit, or Williams going to be the slot guy regardless?
It does change things for me a little bit, like we talked about with who was that one? With Juwan Jennings going to Minnesota. You don't add a talent of Brandon Ayuk's caliber and it not affect guys, especially a rookie. So yeah, I do. It does change things for me on Williams, but we don't know what Brandon Ayuk is in this stage in his career. He hasn't played football in a really long time. He's obviously dealing with some issues that he needs to work through with the organization, San Francisco, and we don't know what his rehab was like. There were rumors that he was blowing off his rehab from a torn ACL. So it does change things. I think you have to be a little trepidatious if and when they sign Ayuk, but we'll see what Ayuk actually ends up being in the NFL.
Dakota, he's the Niners expert. If Ayuk doesn't show up, the Niners can keep him off roster all season. And you know what? Fuck him. Brandon Ayuk said fuck you to the Niners for no reason at all. I don't know what he did there. What did they do to him? Like, Deebo Samuel was the one that should have been pissed because they used him at running back and fucked his legs up. Like, they did nothing to Brandon Ayuk. They only paid him way more than anyone else was willing to pay him. So fuck you, Brandon Ayuk. Last thought on Antonio Williams here. I don't like the player. Like I said, I didn't have him in my top 15, but he is a good slot merchant, and that's exactly what this team needs. We saw for a while there, Zach Ertz, essentially, Terry McLaurin, the year he went off, it was mostly on yards and touchdowns, right? It wasn't a high target share, and Zach Ertz and him were pretty even in catches. And Zach Ertz is not on the team, or he is on the team, but he's coming off an ACL. He's super old. So Chikakonkwo, who is fine, but it's not a target earner, like Antonio Williams could be the second target in this offense. And that's valuable. And you're looking at a guy that didn't have great draft capital, like I said, 3rd round, but he's not a household name. And I think he's going to be overlooked. This depth chart is terrible, Storey. It's terrible. And if everyone loves Jaden Daniels, yes, I know it's mostly because his rushing ability, but someone's going to catch the ball. He's going to throw for 4,000 yards or 3,700 yards. He's going to throw for 25 touchdowns. Someone has to get it. It's not all Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, I agree. Like I mentioned, the guys that are on the roster now, and it's all. I mean, I like Burks coming out, but he's a Jag. They're all Jags, so you've got every opportunity in the world. And I like the talent. I think it's an outstanding landing spot. I really like Antonio Williams. I like what I saw on tape. I like his metrics. I think there's a ton of opportunity. You know, we do have to remember it's still a 3rd round rookie, so we can't go anointing these guys as the next coming yet. But let's see what happens in training camp.
Let's move on to my boy, Malachi Fields, 3rd round, 10th overall in the 3rd rounds. Higher than you thought he was going to go, Storey, because you didn't have him on any of your boards. I had him as wide receiver 10 because I've always loved Malachi Fields. This guy's a true baller. They've been talking him up. Surprise, surprise. And there's a lot of noise about Malik Neighbors shut out mouth, and it seems accurate. I didn't realize that he didn't have his surgery for a month and a half after the injury. So it's essentially a week 10 ACL. He's probably not ready for the start of the year. And if he is, he's going to be limited. So, yeah, they have Darius Slayton. They have, Isaiah Likely. There's some guys there. But Malachi Fields, they traded up to get him. That's a nice plus. As much as we didn't like Antonio Williams' draft capital, like Malachi Fields went earlier than most people projected. And the Giants targeted him because they need a big boy in the room. And this is a big boy in the room. And Jackson Dart's skill set matches very nicely with Malachi Fields' story.
Yeah, I think it's a good landing spot. I don't quite understand what Joe Schoen means by power forward. Like that's, these guys come up with weird terms like the Joker role or power forward or, whatever. And it doesn't really mean, let's see what it means, in OTAs. And
it means red zone targets. It means red zone targets. That's how I read that.
Okay. Maybe, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. They like him. They obviously like him. Now, he's not the fastest guy in the world, but they have said that he plays a lot faster in pads. They gave up a decent amount. Like, I think more than they probably should have to move up to take him. So I think they're confident in his ability. And the Malik Neighbors thing, I was concerned about it back around the Super Bowl when he was still around crutches, and he should have been way past that. Everything we've heard is he's getting there, but we usually hear these guys are way ahead of schedule. So by this point, it's all hyperbole. It doesn't really matter. But if you're not ahead of schedule, you're behind schedule. That's just the nature of these kind of things in the NFL. Like there's opportunity. They were looking for a big body outside guy opposite Malik Neighbors. And, they got the downfield guys that can take the top off in Darius Slayton and what's his name from Atlanta, Darnell Mooney. So there's other guys there, but different types of receivers, different playmakers. There's opportunity. As much as I didn't particularly like the talent, I can't deny that the landing spot's good.
The only issue I have, and I do love the talent, the issue I have is the power forward comment. And, that is a nice, valuable role, right? The jump ball guy, the little fade route guy, the guy that's going to get targeted if he has single coverage in the end zone. It's Jackson Dart. Although he is an aggressive quarterback, what does Jackson Dart do inside the 8 to 10 yard line? He fucking pulls the ball down. So how many less, end zone throws will Jackson Dart have than, say, a guy like Baker Mayfield? You know what I'm saying? Like, he's going to take the ball. And also, Harbaugh is going to want to run the ball in the red zone. So, there'll be some good matchups. But in terms of redraft, as much as I love Malachi Fields, off him in redraft. I don't see any upside there. It's going to be a different version of Marquez Valdez-Scantling, if that makes sense, right? A guy that you just never know when to start. He's not going to be a PPR guy. I just don't see the upside of Malachi Fields. In Dynasty, I don't hate it because you're tied to Jackson Dart and you're playing alongside Malik Neighbors, which is really nice. Like, this dude can dominate single coverage. He can be. I come from the Kenny Galladay. I do like him, but it's not a great. I think I'm lower on the spot than you are.
Well, I mean, there's pros to his landing spot. I will be the first to admit it. But as I mentioned, when we talk about dribbling, like beyond dribbling, every single one of these guys, you can just cross off your redraft board unless there's an injury in camp and somebody needs to step up to fill that hole. This might be it for New York. Like if Neighbors, like Schoen came out and said that they're hoping that he's ready for training camp and that they don't know. Like it's basically we don't know if he's going to be there dressed up as optimism. I don't think the market has caught up with Neighbors. Where's Neighbors going now? Second round? Third round?
18 ADP.
God, so middle of the second round. Like let's see where things are at in preseason. When training camp starts, and if Neighbors isn't there, I think you can kind of keep an eye on Malachi Fields. Until then, he's off my board. Like I'm not drafting literally anybody after Dejon Stribling, even as a flyer in fantasy.
Well, we're going to get some other guys here, and I think I'm going to have you eat your words, but Mouse says, hopefully it means fire the GM. Schoen's a piece of shit. Scatabo is good. Fade Neighbors. Trust me, Neighbors back week 3. And I guess with what I see, what he's saying, I think it's week 3 at earliest, if I'm correct, Mouth. Would you agree with that story? I think there's a chance he's back week 1, but if he's back week 1, it's not going to be full go. And that would also be a mistake, right? On that field, that graveyard of a field they play in there. You bring him back on a team that has, there's hope and optimism in the Giants, but like, does anyone think the Giants will win the Super Bowl this year? Like, Neighbors is 23 years old. He just came off a major injury. Rushing him back would be a major mistake.
Yeah, it would be a major mistake. I mean, there's always a ramp up period. Like, there's a dip in production for guys that come back from ACL tears. And Harbaugh's he likes running the ball. So Scatabo, I think all systems go for Scatabo, man. That guy, he's going to be fully cleared for camp. He's going to be ready to go. They upgraded the offensive line. They didn't draft a running back, despite that looking like a really strong possibility. So all systems go for Cam Scatabo. Like if they're going to have to kind of hide some of the passing game deficiencies behind running the ball, and that's going to come down to Jackson Dart and Cam Scatabo.
Faded. How do we feel about Jeremy Bernard? We just talked about that in the earlier segments. I will touch on it, although I do want to have this video out for individual release. So we don't like it this year. He is a Steeler. We love the landing spot for the type of player he is, the grit, the grime, the blocking, the yak stuff. But Michael Pittman is the 2 there. DK Metcalf's the 1 there. They're going to use Pat Freiermuth. They also have 40-plus-year-old Aaron Rodgers. So out.
DK Metcalf is the 2 there. Man, it's Pittman's show. Metcalf is
shut the hell up.
Over the hill.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Okay, DK Metcalf, more like DK Metbull, more like DK steak on a plate. Well done.
Decaf? Can we just call him Decaf now? He's not
Sure.
DK. He's Decaf.
He's not DK Metbull anymore.
Dev Clips, what do you think that needs to happen for the Browns offense to get going? Also chatted about this earlier, but we're going to hit every question on the show. Appreciate your comment. Shedeur Sanders needs to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. We love the weapons as much as you didn't like the landing spot story. Concepcion in Boston, Jerry Jeudy, if he stays in the roster, Harold Fannon's awesome. And I love Dylan Sampson and Judkins. So the offensive line got to upgrade. The drafts have been good the last 2 years. So what is it going to take for the Browns to be a functional offense? When I say functional, top half or top 20 even.
I don't know, Jimmy Haslam dying. Like they're draft warriors, right? Like these guys, we always hear about how great draft that the Browns have, and yet what materializes on the field? A pretty good defense, and the offense is woefully inept year in and year out. So I don't know. Like you need a new quarterback though, desperately, in order for this to take the next step, and that means a top 20 offense.
I still have a little hope for Shedeur, even though apparently on the YouTube shorts, I got a bunch of shit about me hating on Shedeur, even though I'm clearly in a battle with Dakota and he loves Deshaun Watson. He thinks I'm a Shedeur guy, but the Shedeur guys thinks I hate Shedeur because the Shedeur guys love Shedeur Sanders, dude. They love him like Jalen Hurts fans love Jalen Hurts. It's wild.
Okay.
I don't get it.
I don't see it either. But, again, none of those guys are good. Like, nobody on that roster currently is a startable. You're telling me there's not other guys that are better than these guys that are hanging around that, signing somebody off a practice squad would be better than having Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders starting, if you ask me.
Caleb Douglas, Dolphins, 11th pick in the 3rd round. What the fuck is this pick? And give me I don't know much about Caleb Douglas, so this is a head scratcher for me. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I like Chris Bell a lot. You like Chris Bell even more than me, but Chris Bell was taken after him, but he has coming off an ACL. And I think the guy to keep an eye on here is Kevin Coleman Jr. out of Missouri, right? Would you rather have Kevin Coleman or this Caleb Douglas clown?
I mean, it's hard to rule anything out at this point in the season. Like Caleb Douglas, like there is a complete dearth of pass catching options there. Now they did get some protection from Malik Willis in the 1st round, so yay to that. But like everybody has an opportunity. This is a wide open depth chart when it comes to wide receivers. So Douglas got nice side speed combination, but he's a super raw receiver. Like Texas Tech, they relied heavily on their defense last year, so it's tough to take too much from what we saw. I don't know, man. Like people are harping on the 49ers for drafting Stribling so early. I think this is a bigger reach than the Stribling pick because at least Dejon Stribling fits the scheme. I don't know what they're trying to do here with Caleb Douglas. This is like, I know, like he was probably like the 25th consensus receiver, and he's what, 10 or 11 off the board in terms of
12. Yeah, he is. I think it's safe to say he's a fucking clown.
I don't know who Bozo is. What is he, a clown?
What, is he a clown? What, are you kidding me?
Or what is he?
Yes, he's a clown.
All right, so what's the big deal? There's millions of clowns.
All right, just forget it.
Forget me? You should forget it. You're living in the past, man. You hung up on some clown from the 60s, man.
So is it safe to say you want Kevin Coleman, if this is best ball, last round pick, Kevin Coleman Jr. over Caleb Douglas? I don't even know.
Yeah, at least you saw Kevin Coleman perform at 2 different SEC programs, right? Caleb Douglas performed in a $28 million Texas Tech program that fell woefully short of expectations. I shouldn't say that. Let me clarify. I don't want that on the record. They certainly outperformed expectations, but once they got into the college football playoffs, they fell short.
I want to kind of breeze through these next 3 guys, and I'm going to highlight some guys after this. So Zachariah Branch, a guy that I was super high on. I cooled towards the end of the process, not even because of the arrest. But to the Falcons, 15th pick in the 3rd round. So this is a team that needs a wide receiver with juice, right? Like there's not a lot there. Jahan Dotson, I really like, actually. I think he's going to start the year as number 2. But Zach Branch has that skill set to carve out a role, and I definitely like it more with Michael Penix. For his downfield stuff, which we still haven't seen at college. And I don't think he's a PPR guy. So this is a good pick in real life. Do you think there's any juice at all in fantasy?
Not in fantasy. I do think it's a good pick in real life. Now, they do move Drake London quite around a lot. Like, he's really adept out of the slot. And Pitts just signed his franchise tender today, so he's not going anywhere. I think Dotson probably plays that flanker role. So this guy is a slot merchant first and foremost. Now, he's probably going to be their kick and punt returner. So if you play in a league that has return yards, he's a really good late round pick, I think, in that regard. But in terms of like redraft best ball, I mean, he's got the speed to get downfield, but do you think that either Penix or Tua can realistically take advantage of that and push the ball downfield to him? I don't see it. And they need wide receiver help, but I don't think it was Zachariah Branch. I don't think he's a good fit there. So
Penix fits his upside more because Penix will push the ball downfield, but his skill set coming into the NFL fits more with Tua. Bubble boy, right? We call him Bubble Boy here. And Tua only throws bubbles. So that makes sense. I'm going to skip Jacoby Lane and pair him with Surratt later. Chris Brazzell, we can gloss over this one. Bad player, bad fit, bad. The Panthers just took another guy that they have missed on with 3 straight picks, right? It was literally Jonathan Mingo, it was Xavier Ogat, and it was Terrace Marshall. This is the same archetype of player they've missed on repeatedly, and they don't need this. They have Jalen Coker. They need a tight end, Storey. They need a fucking tight end. And take a tight end.
Should have taken a tight end. Like all the tight ends that went off the board, and these guys decide not to take a tight end. Yeah, I mean 6'4", he's a speedster, right? He's a big strider, like pass catching, downfield kind of guy. Now there was some debate about on our last show about how good of a deep ball passer that Bryce Young actually was last year. Some metrics said he was really good. Some metrics said he was mediocre. We know he was a good deep ball passer at Alabama. So Brazel, can he take advantage of that? Is this a good pick in real life? Probably, right? Take the top off the defense, open things up for Tetero and McMillan in the running game. Is it good for Bryce Young? Probably. Is it going to be a fantasy success? No, I don't think so. This archetype rarely ever works out well in the NFL. And the counting stats that he put up at Tennessee in that Mickey Mouse offense, it doesn't move the needle for me. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but yeah, it's not. You're right. They should have drafted a tight end. Max Clare unavailable at that point? I guess he was, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was available. No, he was not available. But Ted Hurst, 20th pick in the 3rd round to the Buccaneers. So I love this player story. I think we were both higher on Ted Hurst than consensus. I definitely was. This is not a Mike Evans replacement. Anyone that tells you that it is just that they don't look at the guy's body because he weighs 210 pounds, which he's a big boy, 6'4", 210. Not Mike Evans, but another body in this receiver room with McMillan, with Godwin, with Mbuka. I like it. I don't know how it's going to take an injury, right? But we've seen a lot of injuries with, Chris Godwin can't stay healthy. McMillan can't stay healthy. And I think it's a dart throw, right? It's not worthy in best ball. I got to keep an eye on because he's a little raw playing at Georgia State. But if there's an injury and this is a late season kind of thing, a guy you might be able to trust if there is 1 to 2 injuries in this receiving core.
Yeah, potentially, but it's going to take a couple of injuries for him to get there. It's a depth piece, and there's nothing wrong with having a capable wide receiver on the roster. But like Buka, McMillan, Godwin, like they've got a slew of wide receivers there. So Ted Hurst, I liked him. He's a big body wide receiver, but he's a small program. Like this is a long line. He's the latest in a long line of tall, fast wide receivers from really small programs who generate buzz. He was generating buzz in the pre-draft process. The landing spot for him is not good because of the competition in front of him, but it's a depth piece for Tampa. It's a good addition to their wide receiver room. It's a nothing burger for fantasy football, unfortunately.
Miles says Falcons keep drafting felons in partnership with Fulton County Jail's workout rehab program. They just pretend to get arrested for the newspaper. And this is kind of a comment on the Pierce pick, which was always, and he actually played awesome as a rookie, but trading up to get Pierce, I'm not too worried about the off the field stuff with Zach Branch, but Falcons are a bad franchise. And I endorse this pick with Branch. I feel like it's a better real life fit than fantasy fit though, early on.
Yeah. Again, keep an eye on your league settings. If you get points for return yards, Zachariah Branch is probably a really good pick in that regard, but you'll have a handful of games where Branch, where they're double covering Drake London and Branch manages to get loose underneath and breaks, long touchdown. He goes 4 for 96 and a touchdown, and he has a really good fantasy day. People talk about it, but it will not be consistent.
Why is David Njoku still a free agent? Story? Like Buccaneers a good fit. I feel like the Ravens and Buccaneers are the best fits.
Didn't he just meet with the Chargers?
The Chargers are an awful fit because they have Charlie Kohler and they have Gatson. Like I don't want that. I would like the Buccaneers. I would definitely love the Ravens, but Buccaneers are solid. David says drop Terrence Ferguson or Max Clare in Dynasty. Story, who do you want? Same team. Both have second round draft capital. Ferguson played pretty well last year. Who do you want?
Yeah, that one's tough. 2 different programs, right? Oregon versus Ohio State. 2 different styles. These guys are like opposite. Oh man, I think I'd take the shot at Max Clare. I think I would. I like his pass catching profile, but he's probably going to be more on the field, more consistently on the field because of his blocking ability versus Terrence Ferguson. So give me the guy that's going to be that we know is going to probably get on the field.
You agree though? This year it's clearly Ferguson, right? Ferguson this year, Claire long term.
Well,
because
yeah,
Ferguson is the downfield. He's a steam stretcher.
I thought this was a dynasty question.
Yeah, no, it was. I was just saying, like, for this year, it's Ferguson. Dynasty, it's close, but you're saying Claire?
Yeah, it's close, but I would go like Claire because of the blocking ability. This year, though, yeah, Terrence Ferguson, like, we cannot forget that just because we've had 3 years in a row with rookies, tight ends, and being productive doesn't mean that it's still not a tough position to transition from the NFL or from college to the NFL.
Shout out Jonathan. We appreciate you. Jonathan is a fanatic in the Patreon. He is in the Dynasty League. Jonathan, hopefully you joined the Dynasty League. We have a couple spots. You're in the Dynasty League, but you haven't joined the actual league I created. So hopefully maybe you did. I didn't see. Appreciate you though, my dude. So I'm gonna skip over Xavier Thomas to the Bears. That's just a stupid pick. Let's talk about Chris Bell for a second. We talked a little bit about the other Miami receivers. They didn't take any high draft capital guys. They needed it because they have literally Jalen Tolbert and Greg Dulcich as their like best receiver and best tight end. But Chris Bell was a nice spot there because they're trying to lose. He's coming off an ACL. They can ease him into the action. Is there a world where Chris Bell is an ideal last bench spot in redraft? I'm not talking dynasty. I'm talking redraft. Chris Bell coming off the ACL. Would he be the number one there? Just because we love Chris Bell out of Louisville. He's got a lot of receive rights to his game.
If he can get back to pre-injury ability, like he's got plenty of upside. The thing is, like, that's as good of a spot for Chris Bell as it is for Miami because they're not going to rush him back because they're not a contender in 2026. He makes a lot of sense for them there. They've got tons of pressing needs, so you might as well let this guy develop, let him sit for a little while. I would be hard-pressed to find a spot for him on a regular redraft roster, but if you have deep benches, he's probably worth a flyer, sticking him on and seeing if the injury, if he comes along faster, because he at Louisville, go back, you watched the tape at Louisville, right? Like the guy is certainly a playmaker.
Yeah, and you got the discount, the same as the Nick Singleton discount, right? Like the discount from the injury, and he didn't get the test. And Chris Bell would have been a guy that, with his size speed combo, I think Chris Bell and Jeremy Bernard are the closest to Debo we've seen, not just in this draft, in years. And we got kind of screwed by not seeing that. He got screwed in his draft capital, and this is a great spot, like I mentioned, for the tanking Dolphins. They're going to ease him in. So this is what we want, though, for our wide receiver 6 in our roster, right? We don't want a guy that's going to be, maybe he'll play if there's an injury. Like Bell will play when he's healthy. He has every opportunity to be the number one if he can get up to speed. Yeah, and that's what we want from a guy that has major upside.
The nice thing, I shouldn't say the nice thing. It was a late season injury. So don't be afraid after a week or two, if he's still not on the field, like go ahead and cut him, because at that point you might as well be using that roster spot for rotating out those backup running backs. So a lot of it depends on how quickly he can get back from this.
I'm talking deep league, and thank you GT for the super. We love GT around here. Jeff Caldwell, 6'5", runs a 4.3. This is your guy. Storey had the best combine, perfect 10, made 53-man roster for the Chiefs. I don't like the spot for the Chiefs. It's tied to Mahomes because they're going to give Worthy every chance to succeed, guys. They have to. They spent a second-round pick on Worthy. But we do like Jeff Caldwell, and it could be worse, right, for Jeff Caldwell?
I mean, it could be a lot worse. I guess it depends on how what you think about Mahomes' injury, because if you start to think that he'll be on track for OTAs, which is the end of this month, then you've got real chance that the Chiefs get back to a prolific passing game. I tend to think that he's not there yet, and they're going to hide behind the running game to start the year. They're committed to week one. So anyway, back to Caldwell. He's got a real chance to make the 53-man roster. I really do think that he brings too much to the table for them to ignore. Like big body wide receiver, nice frame. He was a standout in Division II. Since Cincinnati, he were really productive there. He ran a 4.3 whatever 40-yard dash. His combine was really great there. I'm surprised he went undrafted. Realistically, good landing spot. I hope that he sticks with a team.
David's got 2 comments here. We gotta kind of pick up the show a little bit. We have a couple guys I want to talk about. Well, Coleman surpassed Harvey. I have Harvey in Dynasty, and I was thinking of taking Coleman with my 2-2 turn in Dynasty. What do you guys think I should do? He also says it's Chris Bell worth a 2-2 pick in Dynasty. Before I get to the question, David, you got to join the community because I will draft your team with you, bro. Like I do that for any community member, especially Dynasty. It's hard for me to do with the redraft stuff because I have 35 leagues. I draft myself, so the timing is weird. But Dynasty drafts happen in times where I have nothing going on. So I will draft your team with you. We will answer all these questions in super in depth. So go to the website, go to the link in the description, join the community, get in the Discord, and we will answer all these in much more in depth. You can give us your roster and give you even better answers, but we can touch on them right now. Coleman will not surpass Harvey. I know, Storey, we had this argument the other day. You love Coleman. I'm not a Coleman guy. You hate Harvey. He's not surpassing him.
I don't love.
You hate Harvey.
I don't hate Harvey. I like I like what Coleman brings to the Broncos. He's good at everything. He's not outstanding at anything. I think that Harvey, he was very inefficient as a running back this year, and that they're going to do everything they can to try to minimize that. This stinks of a committee. I don't like it at all for Harvey.
A three-way committee. Not just a committee. A three-way committee.
So
I get it.
Yeah, because Dobbins, like, is Coleman a 1-for-1 replacement for Dobbins? No, I think even at this stage, like, Dobbins is a better running back than Coleman. But the problem is Dobbins can't stay healthy. So
Dobbins is a better runner. He's not a better running back.
Fair.
Okay, better runner.
He's a better runner.
That's why when I said the draft capital thing in the short I sent you, when I told you to suck my dick, Story, it was I was saying that RJ Harvey was a 2nd-round pick from Sean Payton and Coleman's a 4th-round pick. J.K. Dobbins is a depth signing. Now, I'm not trying to tell you anyone that RJ Harvey's going to have more than a 50% snap share because I feel like he'll be at 50. Dobbins will be at probably 38 to 40, and Coleman will be at 10 to start the year. He'll get the short yardage back, which that actually kills J.K. Dobbins because you don't want a guy, we saw this with Bucky Irving, right? You don't want the guy getting the carries within the 20s, like getting no goal line carries. RJ Harvey will be the receiving down back, and he was elite at that and also awesome in the open field. I like Harvey. His value in best ball, especially pick 90, dude. What are we talking about? That's fucking value on a good offense. But redraft, like, what are you getting from Harvey? You're getting a scat back.
Right. Like scat back plus maybe, but I think the touchdown equity is gone. Like Coleman's as good as a goal of a red zone back as RJ Harvey is. Like I think they like having the option there, but
I think this is a fade. This is a fade all around. Like in redraft, I'm fading this backfield. In best ball, I'm taking my shots on RJ Harvey. That's the guy I'm taking shots on. In redraft, I don't want anything to do with any of these guys because that's fringe area. I want Blake Corum over RJ Harvey.
That's fair.
The chance league winner, right?
There's also rumors that it's going to be more of a 50-50 timeshare in LA this year, although I'll believe that when I see it.
Taj in here. What's going on, Taj? Haven't seen you in a bit. Is it more realistic that Dallas makes Taj Brooks? Yeah. Is it more realistic that Dallas makes the playoffs or the 49ers miss the playoffs?
Dude, I think the 49ers have been sliding quite a bit. Like if they didn't luck into Brock Purdy, can you imagine where the 49ers would be right now? Like,
well, don't say luck into him because they're smart enough franchise to draft him. Come on.
Okay. They draft.
Well, come on.
Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. A broken clock is right.
No, so this whole thing is just Kyle Shanahan. No, bro. Kyle Shanahan's good. In terms of this question, what's more realistic?
I think Lynch is terrible at his job.
I think they're both pretty realistic, and it's not because I hate the Niners. I just think that the fact that they are the 3rd best team in that division, and that no one, even if you're a Niners fan, and Dakota, shout out to you, I don't think that you can make the argument that they're better than the Rams or better than the Seahawks. Seahawks are the defending champs, and the Rams are the favorites. So they have to have everything has to break their way, right? In terms of the Dallas making the playoffs, I think they have a good chance to make the playoffs. So this is a tough one. What's your answer, Story?
My answer is more realistic that Dallas makes the playoff because in a league where you have tanking, even though it's not outright tanking, there's plenty of tanking. It's easier to make the playoffs in a format where that rewards 7 teams making the playoffs versus missing the playoffs. It's more difficult to miss the playoffs when you got teams like Arizona, Cleveland, Miami, New York, etc. Especially like the 49ers. As much as I don't like the organization, Kyle Shanahan's still a really good coach. And this
now it's official. Storey doesn't only just hate coaches; he hates organizations, guys.
You can't
every
tell
organization, but like
you cannot tell me that you can't sit there with a straight face and say that John Lynch is a smart man, because he's not.
I mean, he's better than average. Get the fuck out of here. Well, the history, man. Get the fuck out of here.
What
Storey.
history? Like Jordan James, what's his name? Tyra Davis Price or whatever.
Storey. Your hate is just seeping through the screen.
What is happening here?
I haven't any idea, honestly.
I'm giving Frank a handy under the table.
That is true. Look, Snail, back off, because you're just mashing it now. It's not...
For God's sakes, Gail.
Mom, I'm sexually active now. Get over it.
33 years old. You're supposed to be sexually active. You're not supposed to be fondling your uncle under a table.
Whoa, we're not blood related.
Dude, that's
I think my goal is, as much as I love Sonny, my goal is to have Storey just watch the goddamn show, because you've seen so many epic clips, because it shows all time, that I put these in here just to fucking get in your subconscious to be like, hey, I should probably watch this epic show because you love Seinfeld. This is funnier than Seinfeld in a way. And it's Seinfeld's an all-time, it is a GOAT, right? But like it's again, Seinfeld on crack is what Sonny is.
That was Chloe from 24.
You would only know that. So yeah, you hate the Niners. Dakota says Storey hates Niners. Niners are top 3 to win the Super Bowl. Well, no, they're not top 3 to win the Super Bowl, because they're like top 7 to win the Super Bowl, because I have the Brock Purdy 20-1 bet. They are 17-1 to win the Super Bowl, and Brock Purdy's 20-1 to win the MVP. So I would say they're 8th or 9th. They're ahead of the Bears somehow, which is a little weird just based on the division, right?
They have the 8th best odds to win the Super Bowl. The 49ers.
I said 7th at the top of my head, man.
Yeah.
Fucking GOAT. I'm the GOAT.
You know who the top is? Who's got the best odds?
Mao says.
Thank you, Mao.
The Rams.
Yes, the Rams. But yes, thank you, Mao. 49ers.
I know what I'm doing.
Too.
Missed the goal, getting super, bro. Oh shit, we got the goal. I didn't do that. I owe another chug here. We'll do that here in 1 second. Purdy MVP bet is basically donating money to Vegas. I don't think so, man. 20-1. Storey, do you agree with that? That it's donating money to Vegas 20-1? Because Brock Purdy did play like an MVP for a 7-game stretch. And let's go back 2 years ago when it was him versus Lamar as the front runners late into the season. That's not donating money. Trevor Lawrence has a 16-1 odds. Caleb Williams is ahead of him. Like, Brock Purdy is tied to Kyle Shanahan. Let's not fucking get over our skis here. That's a great bet. Storey, is that a great bet?
The MVP, you have to have an outlier season in touchdown rate, right? You can't, especially with Purdy, who doesn't have the rushing ability. He'll scramble every once in a while, but he's not a rushing quarterback. So you have to have a Matthew Stafford absurd 7.9% touchdown rate or whatever you had last year. Is that in the range of outcomes for Purdy? Yes, it is, but I would say it's a very small percentage chance. Probably. I wouldn't personally put my money on Brock Purdy to win the MVP, especially because even though McCaffrey's not the runner that he used to be, he is still, one of the best running backs in the league. And so if he's not throwing for 44 touchdowns next year, he's not winning the MVP. I just don't see that happening.
You also made a bet that Ty Simpson was going 2nd overall in the draft. You're telling me this is a bad bet?
Yeah, but
be consistent.
Like, for where he was expected to go, 13 wasn't that far off. Like, all things considered.
Well, hold on. Let me just preface it like this. Should Brock Purdy be the 13th odds to win the MVP? Should there be 12 quarterbacks ahead of Brock Purdy?
I could probably name 12.
No fucking way, bro.
I could probably name 12 quarterbacks that I think.
Trevor Lawrence should be ahead of him. Trevor Lawrence should be ahead of him.
Trevor Lawrence ran in 57,000 touchdowns last year, so that's part of it.
9 touchdowns, 9 rushing touchdowns. Come on, dude. Let's not be stupid.
I got 100-1 odds on Ty Simpson to be the 2nd overall pick, for the record. And I'm well aware that was a donation.
Yeah, it didn't win.
No, I'm well aware that was a donation.
This is not a donation, dude. Guess what? If the Niners start off 4-1 and Brock Purdy has we'll call it a 15-2 touchdown interception ratio, which is in the realm of possibilities, this bet goes to 8-1, right? It goes to 8-1. That's why you make this bet. You make this. This is the best long shot bet. Don't listen to Storey. I love you, Storey. You're not always right, and I'm not saying I'm right, but you're off on this one, man. Trevor Lawrence ahead of Brock Purdy with what's going on there in Jacksonville. What are you talking about? Are you smoking crack?
20-1, man. Like, I would need at least 30-1 to consider Brock Purdy.
So Jaden Daniels has better odds than Brock Purdy. Really?
Again, if you don't
have to win 12 games. You have to win 12 games to get this MVP. You have to.
You also have to throw. If you're a pocket passer, you have to throw for 45 touchdowns, and that's probably not in the range of outcomes for Brock Purdy. It's not in the range of outcomes for Jaden Daniels either, but he supplements that on the ground. Although I think there's still a bias towards pass.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to touch on a couple more guys before I get you off here. And I'm going to get you off after the show too, if you know what I mean. Brennan Thompson is going to be a nothing. He's just he's a 2-2 Atwell in that offense. I want to talk about Elijah Surratt with the 15th pick in the 4th round to the Ravens. I love this pick. I love Surratt. The report coming out, he's going to play the slot. I feel like if Lamar stays healthy, the floor for Surratt is like 4 to 6 touchdowns because they didn't replace Isaiah Likely. Rashad Bateman's bad. This is Elijah Surratt all fucking day, dude. I think his upside is 10 touchdowns. Am I crazy for saying this?
I mean, he had 15 touchdowns at Indiana last year, led all of Division I as far as I know. I mean, they prioritized adding pass catchers. They added Jacoby Lane around earlier, which was, I think, surprising. I don't think anybody thought Lane was going over Surratt, but I mean, this guy excels in the red zone. Like, he gets open. He's got strong hands. He's strong at the catch point. They're trying to get Lamar Jackson back to his MVP passing days. Like, it's the first time they've drafted multiple wide receivers in the same draft since in the last 5 years, something like that. So, yeah.
Well, I wanted to bring that up because we both prefer Surratt over Jacoby Lane, right? For fantasy, like Lane went higher than him in the draft, but Surratt is a better day one prospect.
Yeah, no, Lane will be a nice addition to the Ravens. It's a nice real world ad for him there, but he's not a consistent wide receiver. Like, dropped passes, kind of lazy in some breaks, lazy on some routes, sloppy on some breaks. So for fantasy, it's got to hit, but I think it can hit with Elijah Surratt. Who's he got to beat out? Rashad Bateman and Tylan Wallace? I don't think that's too tall of a task to overcome there. You got to remember though.
Agreed.
Timothy not a big speedster, so you're really banking on touchdowns with Surratt.
Yeah, but that's exactly the bet. Timothy says Jaden Daniels MVP and backed in the NFC Championship game. I'll save Super Bowl talk until the season starts. Purdy has to stay healthy. All I have to say to you is if you're telling me that Purdy has to stay healthy, but you're making a Jaden Daniels argument, like that's just Timothy, thank you for the comment. That's just not like that's not a great that's like having a fat wife and then just ripping on a buddy for having a fat wife. Like, I can't tell my wife is a supermodel, but she weighs 180, but your wife's a fucking pig and she weighs 188. No, they're both pigs. And Brock Purdy, I know it's been a kind of a nagging thing with him every year. He misses 3 or 4 games, which takes. Thank you, Brock Purdy. The 3 or 4 games takes him out of the MVP running, though. Officially, that does. But I'm sorry, like if we're gonna rip on if we're talking about the Niners organization in a bad light, which blows my mind, and we're gonna be talking about the Commanders as a good organization. I can't believe the thing is Jaden Daniels did go there. I still can't believe that he went there, beat that Lions team that was destined for great things, and not just beat them. They destroyed the Lions team in that playoff game. But I like Jaden Daniels has more of a dynamic skill set. He could go nuclear, right, and get the MVP. Brock Purdy has the infrastructure that Jaden Daniels does not have. This has to be all on Jaden Daniels. If George Kittle comes back healthy, Brock Purdy is set for success. I'm not even a Brock Purdy guy. I just feel like 20-1 is just fucking free money, dude. It's not even the 20-1 story. It's a 13th lowest odds to win MVP, bro.
Again, I could probably name a dozen guys that I think deserve to have better odds than Brock Purdy. Like, so I think that's even. I don't think it's.
So Todd says, here we go: Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Burrow, Stafford, Dak, May, Love, Caleb, Herbert, all would have better bet than Purdy, and I get that. I agree with those. That's 10 guys, though. What about the other two? Right? Like we're looking at 13th, and who you left off there is we're talking about. I know for a fact it's Trevor Lawrence, who should not be there, and Jordan Love, bro. That defense is too good. I want Brock Purdy over Jordan Love. Maybe I give you Justin Herbert. I give you Dak. I give you May.
What about Jared Goff? It's the same exact scenario.
Yeah, but I think Brock Purdy is more dynamic than Jared Goff. I like Jared Goff. Jared Goff's a statue, bro.
True.
Brock Purdy can give you 300 on the ground with 5 rushing touchdowns. That's a fantasy thing.
Grand scheme of things. Unless you're running for 650 yards and 8 touchdowns, like maybe not 8, but half a dozen touchdowns. 300. It doesn't matter whether it's 300 yards or it's 150 yards. It literally doesn't move the needle. So who's got a better chance of staying healthy? Number one, and putting together a 14-win season, the Lions or the Purdy or Goff.
Timothy, I agree with what you're saying. Context is king. Jaden Daniels' play style, though, and his body type does. This was the worry coming out, man. And I love Jaden Daniels this year for fantasy. I love Jaden Daniels in general. Storey, you're the biggest Jaden Daniels guy, period. But
I love Jaden Daniels.
Brock Purdy is in a system that made Jimmy Garoppolo go to the Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo went to the Super Bowl, and Jimmy Garoppolo is trash. Right. That is my Brock Purdy argument.
But Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't even considered for the Heisman. Not the Heisman. I don't know why I said that. The MVP. that was weird. For the MVP. So what does that tell you? Like a team goes to the Super Bowl, they absolutely dominate in the postseason. Then Shanahan gets cowardly like he always does in big games, and they lose.
Hey, I'm going to defend the bet. I made the bet. I'm going to defend it. 20-1. I feel like it's a good bet. It is a good bet. And
you can admit that it was.
I'm not, dude. It's 20-1. No, it's 20-1. It's not going to be a winner like it, but there's a chance. We've seen this before, and they're also not going to give the award to Lamar or Josh Allen again unless they go like beyond nuclear. We see this in the NBA with Jokic. Like they're not going to give it. So if Brock Purdy equals those numbers and they win 13 games, 12 games, Brock Purdy's winning the MVP, dude.
I'd rather have Jalen Hurts at 35-1 and Brock Purdy at 20-1.
No, Jalen Hurts is probably right in the same range as Brock Purdy, bro.
I just looked it up. Jalen Hurts.
He's not?
Plus 3,500. Yep.
Maybe I like that too. I hate Jalen Hurts.
Plus 3,500.
All right. Hey, good discussion. Timothy, thank you for your comments. Let's get to a couple more names before I get you off here. Skylar Bell, 4th round, 25th pick. We both are the highest on Skylar Bell in the world, me especially. Keon Coleman's done. He's still on the roster. He's done. I feel like it was a big overpay for Josh Palmer, right? So Josh Palmer is just kind of there, and Gadsden's fine, but like I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about the Josh Palmer on the Chargers. The tight ends are done, right? Like they're done. Dawson Knox is just old, and Dalton Kincaid has a Todd Gurley type knee issue, which is not good. And they don't throw the ball to James Cook. So Skylar Bell is relevant, dude. He is relevant. He is that last spot in your bench guy that's going to be a third receiver on this team by week 4.
He's kind of redundant to Khalil Shakir, right? Similar qualities, ability to play in the slot, play outside. But the production at UConn, like you cannot deny that he was a super productive guy. He was top 5 in yards, receptions, and touchdowns for was it top 5? Top 5 or top 10? Doesn't matter. Like the only guy in FBS who was top 5 in all those categories. Yards after the catch, certain ability. He's relevant, but again, it's the Bills. It's still Joe Brady. Are we for certain that they know how to use their wide receivers correctly? That's the question that I have. So it's probably worth a stab if you got a deep bench, but be prepared to cut him because, again, like Shakir, like, what are you getting out of Shakir realistically? A bye week fill-in these days? Like, are we going to get the same out of Skylar Bell? Like, how much upside is there realistically with these wide receivers?
What I love about Skylar Bell is if Shakir gets hurt, he's a slot. If DJ Moore gets hurt, he's taking DJ Moore's role because no one else can. So it's same reason I love Nick Singleton. He is a dual handcuff and also a guy that's going to see the field. And we just love the talent. We love the talent of Skylar Bell. And this is a last round pick, guys. We're talking about this is wide receiver fucking 22 or whatever the hell it is in terms of the rookies taken in the draft. I don't have the exact number, but give me Skylar Bell all fucking day for upside.
Yeah,
I love it.
You need to have like 18 rounds in redraft in order to draft him. But assuming you have deep benches, he's definitely worth throwing on there for a few weeks and seeing what actually plays out in Buffalo.
And just keep your eye on the guy. Like, just look how the snap share is going. This could be, and I compare it to Monroe St. Brown situation, but we saw that year, right, where it was like, the snap share just rose and rose and rose, and by the time it was week 6, he was at like 60%, and then next thing you know, it's 90%. And if Skylar Bell has the talent in our mind to not overtake Shakir, not overtake DJ Moore, but become a fixture in this offense, and if the tight ends are not staying healthy or producing, maybe they run more 3 wide receiver sets, and maybe, just maybe, in 2 wide receiver sets, he takes Shakir off the field because he also doesn't play Shakir also they've been playing Keon Coleman over him. So,
yeah, this kind of reminds me of the Bears situation last year with Luther Burden. Like a
right.
super
the draft capital was different, but
draft capital was certainly different. 2nd round pick versus a what are we talking about now? 5th round pick for Skylar Bell? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But super talented rookie coming in behind 2 established guys. There's probably snap share is going to increase as the week or the weeks go on. Yeah.
Taj, thank you, my dude. What's more likely, Jake Ferguson breaking 10 tackles this season or Jalen Hurts completing over 50 passes over the middle of the field accurately? Jake Ferguson does not break any tackles, but Jalen Hurts cannot throw
anything accurately. Throwing over the middle of the field. He hates throwing over the middle of the field. But
he also hates throwing to the like outside to the sideline. So he's got a very narrow area he throws the ball to.
But it still hurts because Jake Ferguson is literally not breaking tackles.
This is my TJ Hawkinson thing. I don't want to give this away because we have a dynasty draft coming up, but and a lot of these guys are in here listening. But like, I feel like TJ Hawkinson is Jake Ferguson, right? Like, what's the difference? And he is Dalton Schultz. They're all just bad at football. So the price point is the key. So I think it's probably Jalen Hurts, but I hate Jalen. Dude, I put a short out and I try to do the rage bait thing and the clickbait thing of just saying Jalen Hurts is terrible. And as you know, I think he's pretty terrible. I think the word is Jalen Hurts is very overrated story, and we all agree with that on this channel. And people, dude, Jalen Hurts, people just freak out. They think he is the best. They think he's the best quarterback in the world. And my thing is, I always want Dak Prescott over Jalen Hurts. If you put any quarterback on that Eagles team, Nick Foles won a fucking Super Bowl, man. Like, Jalen Hurts played great in those Super Bowls, but it's just, go back to his college days too, Oklahoma and Alabama. Like, the guy has he ever had a subpar roster ever in the history of his life? Never.
He didn't just play great in those Super Bowls. He was the best player on the field in both of those.
Well, let's take that aside.
He's getting a lot
how
of
did he get there?
For issues that are above his head that start with the owner.
Dak Prescott or Jalen Hurts? Who do you want?
For fantasy or real life?
Real life. Running your team. If it's the Raiders, the Raiders, you want Jalen Hurts on that team.
Hurts. Yes, I do.
You.
What are you doing? Dak Prescott can't. He's not a winner, man. He can't get this team over the hump. Like, they can't.
He's on the Cowboys. He's not a winner. What are you doing?
Oh, I'm sorry. You just had CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens last year. And what happened with that team?
Bad defense and offensive line kind of went to shit. I like this one. And Michael Trigg we trust. Next, Seam Demon. We're both big Michael Trigg guys. Story. We didn't get to chat about him too much on the tight end show because he wasn't drafted for some reason. Why?
I read that
22 tight ends went drafted. 22 tight ends were drafted, guys, and Michael Trigg was not one of them. Story, you had him as your 5th rated tight end. he was the guy I originally debated having as my number 2 tight end. And then as some of the stories came in and the lack of combine stuff he did, even though he showed up there and his 27-inch vertical, which was concerning, I still love Michael Trigg. What the hell? Why was he undrafted in a class at 22 when drafted? It was just wild to me because they all wanted blockers, not a guy that actually is a dynamic playmaker.
I think a lot of it boils down to, if we're taking a position that has one specific need in that you got to be able to block. Like, look at every single guy that was drafted. Like, they do have at least some blocking ability. Trigg, just didn't show the effort on the field in Baylor. And I think that's why he went undrafted. But the guy's pass catching is top end in this draft class, and it sucks that he went undrafted.
Yeah, it really did suck. All right, buddy. I think we covered pretty much everyone. We didn't cover. I think we could talk about for 1 second Deion Burks, who's Mr. Irrelevant in this wide receiver class. A lot of people had Deion Burks as a 3rd-round pick. What in the world? Like, what value? The Bears pick. The Dolphins first receiver they took, why not take Deion Burks, who is, he has the cautionary tale of a guy that's small and ran really fast, but really good 40, really good film, 7th-round pick to the Colts. This is a great spot because Josh Downs has not been the mark of health, and Alec Pierce is way overpaid. And I guess you have Tyler Warren as the one there if you want to count that, but this is a great spot. This is a better spot than almost everyone above him until the 3rd round.
Yeah. I think the Colts were surprised to see that Burks was still on the field or on the board. He's a speedster. Like you said, go look at Xavier Thomas and you can find tons of clips of him being outstanding. But wouldn't you rather have had Deion Burks, who actually had production in college, as opposed to Xavier Thomas, who was an afterthought for most teams? He plays with really impressive speed, and I think that's a really valuable part of this game. Daniel Jones does have a good deep ball. You got to hope that the Achilles tear didn't kind of sap that. There's going to be times when Burks pops off for a long, 60-yard touchdown, and it's going to be amazing. It's not going to be consistent, though. That's the problem. And I don't even think he's going to be tough to crack that line. Tough to crack your lineup.
Todd says, yep, it's Dak's fault. Jerry traded the best defender on the team 3 days before the season and had the 30th ranked defense in the league. It was awful. And it's not, again, we're going to disagree on that. You like Jalen Hurts apparently more than I do, but Dak's a better quarterback and Jalen Hurts has the tush push and all those kind of things. But give me Dak Prescott, Tony Romo, same kind of situation. These guys are fine. It wasn't their fault, right? It's never been their fault. It's been Jerry Jones' fault. That's been the fucking disconnect, and the fact that his ego gets in the way of all these things.
What was it? The 39th ranked defense that only put up 17 points against the hapless New York Football Giants in Week 18? Was it the 39th ranked defense that only put up 17?
The season was over.
Okay, season was over.
Stop talking shit about 17, fucking Dak Prescott.
17 points against Arizona. Was it the defense that scored 14 points against the Bears in week 3 or 4 or whatever it was when everybody was healthy? Was it the defense then? I'm sick of hearing about how terrible the defense was and how the defense cost them everything. Dak's a choker. First and foremost, the guy can't win the big games. He can't put a consistent play on the field. He's done. He's a bum. He'll never win anything. That whole organization is cursed till Jerry Jones either sells it or dies.
It's your kids, Marty. Something's got to be done about your kids.
What do you mean?
Your daughter marries a black man.
That's actually not a big deal for me.
Yeah, me neither.
What? What? You really?
Yeah, I mean, well, what's wrong with that?
No, nothing. It's nothing. I guess. I think it's great. Congratulations.
I don't think I'm comfortable around you anymore.
Did you know peanut butter was invented by a black man?
Too late, Doc.
Did you know Dak Prescott threw for 30 touchdowns last year? Oh, God, here comes Dakota. Thank you for the super sticker, by the way. Storey, you just described Josh Allen.
Yeah, I don't think Josh Allen's all that in a bag of chips either. Great. We got a Wyoming boy.
Now you're hating on quarterbacks? Dude.
Not hating on quarterbacks. I'm sick of the hate that Jalen Hurts is getting because of the franchise let him down last year, as opposed to we're gonna glaze Josh Allen when he can't get past like anybody in the playoffs. And his problem is like he won't stick in the pocket and actually make plays happen. He'd rather take off and let his legs do the work. That's his problem.
Impressive hate, man. Impressive hate. I love it. All right, I'm going to let you out on this one. We're going to do an underdog best ball draft. But, guys, I have a little bathroom emergency I have to attend to. So, since Storey's leaving, I'm going to start a new stream for underdog. Give me 10 minutes, guys, and you'll see it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Subscribe to the channel, and then I'll start the new show up in 10 minutes. We'll do an underdog draft. Draft with us, Dakota. Chaz, if you want to draft with us, if you do underdog, JD, whoever wants to get in, we'll time it up together. Give me 10 minutes. And I had to take a shit. I had to take a massive shit. So I don't want to have to hold this in. My picks will be terrible. But Mike Storey, you're the man. Guys, look for the new stream here, 10 minutes. Go to the channel and you will see it. Sorry for the 10 minutes delay. I really, really have to take a shit. So I have to go. Yeah, poop emoji. It's going to be a lot of those little like rabbit turds, but also maybe some liquids. So
good luck. Sounds amazing.
Yeah, don't hit on Josh Allen. Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the NFL, just so you know. So Storey can't give you that because all the quarterbacks suck, so there is no best quarterback in the NFL. It's not Patrick Mahomes. He's been awful the last 3 years, dude.
I'm not disagreeing that. I'm sick of hearing about how
who is it? Who is it? Who is it? Who is it then?
Jackson.
It's not just is it Lamar Jackson who can't win a playoff game? Get the fuck out of here. No, I love Lamar Jackson. It's not Lamar over Josh Allen. You crazy, crazy son of a bitch. Storey. Hell of a show as always, man. My dad, like I said, my dad's watched every show since not even the stream started. And the streams, we've had 300 now. We had about 300 episodes prior to the stream starting. My dad's watched all 600 shows. And he always says anytime Storey's on is must-watch TV. He watches everyone, but he knows real GOAT when it happens. So you are the real GOAT, man. You make me even seem better than I already am. Pat on my own back because I'm the best fucking host ever, but you are really the man. Besides your hating on coaches and shit, you son of a bitch.
We'll get back to it next time. Thanks. Good luck in the draft, everyone. Have a fun time.
All right, I'll see you guys in 10 minutes. I'm not even gonna play the ending clip. I'm just gonna end stream.
Go.
All right, I'll see you guys in 10 minutes. Thanks, Storey. Love your life. Stay positive and respect each other.